since he ordered the items back in November. Still has not received a refund. Investigators from WTOC started looking into AliExpress. They found the company subsidiary of Alibaba, sometimes referred to as the Amazon of China. Never heard that.
No, we're the Amazon of China.
2021, the Office of the United States Trade Representation added that AliExpress to its list of notorious markets for counterfeiting and piracy. Website has a D rating from the Better Business Bureau, and in 2024, State of Georgia's Consumer Protection Division received 3 complaints against the company.
I mean, hell, what do you have to do to get an F? If you're sending a photo of things, what do you have to do to get an F from the Better Business Bureau? You got to draw blood?
I would agree with you if that only gets me that letter grade.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pictures don't even work for an OnlyFans, right?
Yeah. No. And that's trash, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Hey, look, if you are looking for your final home or your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop, 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
Champy's Chicken as well. Final dash to the end here. Dash for some great lunch and dinner. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go see Sterling. Great, wonderful Southern fried chicken. In-house made desserts. Don't forget the great appetizer to start with, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. How about that Conecuh sausage, pickle, and cheese plate? Good eating. Always at Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Carnell Tate says he's coming back to Ohio State. Rumors of him hitting the portal. Not true. Not going to take any offers.
Well, if you get Jeremiah Smith not to take an offer anywhere, that's your best receiving duo by far coming back next year in college football. Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate.
Yeah, and with Abuka and Smith this year it was.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. How about this? Florida has hired former Alabama DB Vinny Sunseri as co-defensive coordinator and safeties coach. Pretty quick rise.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Leaves Jacksonville State, but he just a few years ago when I was last year doing local TV, he had sat on the set with me at CBS 42 after games.
Yeah.
And now he's coaching the SEC as a co-DC.
I remember when Jack State hired him under Charles Kelly, I was telling someone, they're like, God, Coach Sunseri's still doing it. I was like, no, this is the son.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, how quick did he rise? Because Tino's in coaching as well.
Yeah, didn't he take the OC job out west?
Just recently.
Yeah.
Wasn't at USC, though, was it?
No,
I'm trying to remember where it was. Here, I'll look him up. But yeah, Tino's.
Was it UCLA?
I didn't think so.
It seemed like he went out west.
He did go out west.
From Pittsburgh.
Yeah, from Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's UCLA. Yeah, he's at UCLA.
Yeah.
That Sunseri family, I mean, it's a well-respected. Sal had a job all the time. He was never without a job, Sal Sunseri, in the NFL and college. It's a very well-respected family in coaching.
Cliff Kingsbury is expected to be the Saints head coach now that the Commanders season is over with. It's the only opening left. Schottenheimer got hired by the Cowboys, introduced today. Kingsbury to the Saints would do what for you guys?
Be a perfect fit. Marriage made in heaven.
You're not a fan of either?
Yeah. I mean, look, that organization is going to be down for a while, and Kingsbury's a coach that's never won anything on any level.
I mean, Lance is right. Cliff Kingsbury feels like he keeps falling up.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was super average at Texas Tech. You always say he couldn't win with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback.
Yeah, well, maybe the most talented quarterback we've ever seen.
Super average, not even average as the Arizona coach. Bad as the Arizona coach, right?
Yeah, look, he put Jaden Daniels in really good situations this year, but I wouldn't be excited if I'm a Steelers fan.
No.
Or a Saints fan.
Especially when I thought I might get Joe Brady. I'd far rather have Joe Brady.
We've got an audience. I just had somebody text me. They're at Super Fuels right now in Texas.
Are you serious?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Don't donate to the legal fund.
Tell them we support them.
That's right.
Yeah. We're Super Fuels. By the way, Senior Bowl week down in Mobile. Cam Ward's not committed to play. Neither Shador. Neither are expected to throw at the Combine. Keep an eye at the Senior Bowl. See who's pops this week down in Mobile. We're back with you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Don't forget our new Basketball Show podcast is out on all video platforms. God bless you, and God bless America.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round. presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Here we go. Live show now on a Tuesday. Basketball to talk about. We'll talk about the games. A lot of us stayed up late and watched. Some of you didn't have to stay up late and watch, but it was just a great basketball night last night. We got maybe Forrester, thumbs up, thumbs down. Oh, give me Forrester's microphone. Forrester, oddest, weirdest, most awkward coach introduction in NFL history?
Yeah, it's up there.
You remember Adam Gase?
Hey, yeah, I was
going
to say Adam Gase was rough.
Okay.
Sirianni had to go to his players and apologize because he was so overwhelmed. He was shaking.
Yeah.
He looked like he was doing a 7th grade history presentation for the first time.
Okay, when we get to that, y'all remember some of this because Dan Campbell was biting knees, remember? Right?
I think that was after the fact.
Yeah, that was not an introductory. That was.
I thought it was introductory.
Yeah, that'd have been a little too much.
Yeah, this one coming up is cringe-worthy.
Actually, there's two pretty cringe-worthy ones.
Hey, great point.
From the same person?
No, different.
No.
Oh, different people.
Different ones. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I like cringeworthy.
Hey, and what makes an 80-year-old man? What makes an 80-year-old billionaire cry? That's coming up in the show as well. But let's start with basketball before we get to the games that were on the court last night and what was a great night of basketball. SEC action back tonight. Nate Oats was on the Crimson Tide Sports Network last night with Chris Stewart. You got a new Respect the Process with Chris Stewart and Kelly Hunter that is out, where Chris talks about where this basketball team is and all of that. But Nate Oats last night on with Chris Stewart talking about on Hey Coach, motivating his guys and Mark Sears and Clifford Omoruyi and how he handled that the other night. Here's the Alabama head coach.
I didn't think we played our best basketball against LSU. We played good enough to beat LSU, but not good enough to beat some other teams that are going to be on our schedule. That was kind of the point we were trying to make at halftime, kind of get some guys to go a little harder. Let's get something more going. I think whether it happened in the game, I thought Cliff was unbelievable in the second half of the game. Thought he was great in practice today, too. I thought Sears had an unbelievable practice today. I thought the energy today, it had everybody played as hard in the game as they did in practice today. I don't think it would have been tied at the half. So, can we get these guys to give a max effort every single night out, every practice, every game? If we can get there, we'll be competing for championships. If not, we're still a pretty good basketball team, but not the level I want us to be or I think that they want to be. So that's the goal. We got to draw it out of them. Got to keep challenging them and get them to play their best basketball.
So Sears at practice, having a good practice, that's what first thing everybody wanted to have. And as expected, something we discussed on the show and Taylor and I discussed on the basketball show as well, very quick makeup between Nate Oats and Mark Sears. Brown, you said yesterday that you don't make the decision if you didn't know how Mark Sears would handle it.
I think Nate Oats is a good enough coach. You know that if a guy is the leading active scorer in NCAA basketball history, which I think I'm right about that, right?
He's over 250.
Yeah,
I think there's only 82 players in the history of Division I basketball to ever go over 2,500.
So there can't be another one active. Yeah, so
it's a small group.
Yeah, leading active scorer in NCAA basketball history who's done so much for your program. You don't make a move like this if you don't think he's going to respond well. And Nate Oats just told you it worked. He responded well.
Yeah, I heard from somebody that is close to the program and I believe what they say. And, the report was that halftime was tough and candid amongst two of the leaders. And those two leaders, I think we've pointed out, in Omoruyi and Sears, and one took it well. And one didn't.
Yeah.
And Sears was the guy that didn't take it well. And that's why you saw him on the bench and you saw he was emotional and didn't handle it well. And I guess we'll get to the clarification from Sears' mom here in a little bit.
Yeah. We got that yesterday on social media where she sent out saying that she respects Nate Oats and the Alabama coaching staff, but she loves her son. And when things don't bounce right, she's still going to love her son.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a long thing on Facebook and Instagram. But
don't you know that this is when you have like the knee-jerk emotional response that you're always going to have to do kind of the soft apology on the backside.
Yeah, but when we sent this out, her response the newsworthy items in it, one reason we chose to send it out was she was the one that said he was not injured and was not sick. So it was, by her definition, a healthy sit in the second half.
Yeah, healthy scratch.
Yeah, people were debating on whether or not he was injured, he was ill, flu, any of that stuff. And Nate Oats didn't address it after the game. He just said, we played the guys who thought we could help us win. She was the one that made it public. He wasn't injured. He wasn't sick. And so, she posted this yesterday just to say, listen, I'm defending my son. I love my son regardless and going to love him whether he's playing basketball or not. And she was just letting the media, us and supporters and fans know that she respects Nate Oats and the basketball team, but she loves her son.
Well, there are some people that believe that she was strongly encouraged to post that clarification.
Well, and maybe she
from
was.
Mark Sears.
Yeah, maybe
from her son.
I don't know, but
I mean, that's
what I would have done.
I would have done it too.
Yeah. The thing I think most Alabama fans are more interested in is, how does Sears play Wednesday night in Starkville?
I agree with you. I think he's going to play well.
Oh, I think he's going to kill it, and I think you got a really good.
Of course, really I don't know if they're going to win that game.
They may not. It's going to be a tough game. I think you got a really good sign of that, though, with the way he practiced and the way he responded to it. And as Nate Oats said, if basically Sears and Omoruyi and other people, but Sears and Omoruyi are your leaders, if those guys had played the way they practiced, they're up 20 on LSU at the half.
Yeah, different rosters.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's not, and that's what Nate Oats is doing here. He's not just trying to beat teams. He's trying to be great. I think he looks at this roster and thinks this roster is a great roster. Why aren't we just beating teams? Let's be great. Let's dominate teams. It's the Nick Saban mentality. Let's grind them in the ground and make them quit. Why are you tied with LSU at home at the half? You got no business being tied with LSU at home at the half. That is an effort issue. That is not taking an opponent seriously enough, is what Nate Oats is saying here. And I don't care if you're Mark Sears or the last guy on the bench. I want everybody this is what your football coach said for 17 years that you loved, and now you got a new football coach, and maybe he'll do the same thing, but now your basketball coach is doing it. Like, it's not good enough just to win games. Go dominate your opponent.
And a lot of it is effort. I mean, he referenced Chest, had 15 rebounds.
That's right.
He actually had 18.
Yeah.
That's on your home floor. I mean, rebounding, it's called hustle board for a reason.
Yeah, I would say this, though, in Nate Oats I trust, absolutely. But Nick Saban's schedule, it's a lot less number of games, and all due respect to Alabama's great Southeastern Conference schedule, pales in comparison to the grind that Nate Oats puts on his team schedule-wise. Auburn's got a great schedule this year. We'll talk more about their Quad 1 race later on. But Alabama's schedule, pre-conference, and in this SEC, you don't have games off like you do LSU the other night, like you did in football. All due respect, Alabama was rolling out in a football world for 17 years with Nick Saban with the best talent, and they could play a crappy 75% quality game and beat people by 3 touchdowns. This team can't do that. And the question would be, can you ride and keep the reins pulled tight all the way until the first weekend in April? It's a long grind with great opponent after great opponent. I said this. I said this with Taylor on our show yesterday on the podcast. I thought they would lose this game in Starkville until this all happened. And I think it's motivation that you'll get the best of Alabama in Starkville. I think they win this game now. I didn't think they'd win it when I looked at the schedule.
Right.
As it was playing out, I thought this would be the loss in their 7 games leading up to Auburn on February the 15th. I think they win this basketball game now because of the motivation, the refocusing of the team.
I don't know what you think the number's going to be. Oats was asked about last night during the show.
He wasn't asked what the number was going to be, right?
No. But he said no. But I mean, Ken Pom has Mississippi State favored, and I think he was asked that by a member of the audience. So I don't know what you think the number would be.
I would think that Mississippi State is going to be 1.5.
Okay, so it's
minus 1.5.
Yeah,
minus
a virtual pick 'em.
Yeah. In the new AP poll that we'll get to later on, the full thing. But Mississippi State is the number 14 team in the country, despite some losses here recently. So that's Nate Oats on the Sears and Clifford Omoruyi. He keeps packaging those two together. Obviously, Omoruyi is a big part of the team. Sears is a team leader and a guy that we all agree can't can't go win a national championship without Mark Sears playing his A game.
Yeah, I was talking to Taylor this morning. Like, I don't – because I said this. I still think Auburn's got enough talent to be a Final Four team without Broome. Like, I don't know who the more important player is to their team.
Broome or Sears?
Oh, I don't know if Auburn could get to the Final Four without Broome.
I don't think they could. I don't know. Yeah, I think they've got enough talent.
They got enough talent. I just don't think they would.
Either one of these teams, not even close to accomplishing what they want to accomplish without.
To be truthful, Alabama and Auburn may not make the Final Four with Sears and Broome.
That's correct. Yeah, and I'm gonna go a little different than what I just said. I actually think Alabama has a better chance of making the Final Four without Sears than Auburn has making the Final Four without Broome. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, you're talking about guard depth in Tuscaloosa, and that is a place where they are extremely deep.
And Janai Broome is one of one.
Of course, that depth is going away a little bit.
Well, a little bit, but you would still have. Holloway gives you a ton of minutes, so basically he gets starters minutes already. Yeah. He's just going to get a few more starter minutes, and then you just hope Fidlon never hits the freshman wall, right? And he's
or comes out of it, depending on where you think he is.
Yeah, that's true. Depending on where you evaluate him at this moment, maybe he has hit the freshman wall and he bounces out. I don't know.
Yeah, but for what Broome does on the boards, his ability to pass it in the post. And
I know it didn't look like it this weekend, but he is. Every offensive half-court scheme runs through him when he's healthy.
Yeah,
and he is such a. There may not be another player like him in college basketball this year. I think he's more important. I know this is weird to say, but I think he's more important to Auburn than Sears is to Alabama.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is Sears is kind of that closer, and once you get to the postseason, especially the NCAA tournament, a lot of these one-possession games, you need that guy. Either one of these teams is not even close to what they are without those guys.
I think you got to have Sears playing at his A game for Alabama to get there, but I think Broome is more important to Auburn than Sears is to Bama.
I would say in the NCAA tournament, you are bound to play one or two games where you're just trying to get to the finish line, and you need a guard that can make free throws to do that.
Always we hear it's a guard tournament.
Well, they say that, and it's probably, and I think that's why they say it, is you're going to play a couple games where clock's ticking down, you've got a 4-point lead, and they're fouling you to try to get the ball back, and you've got to have a guard that can make free throws. And if you've got a guard that can make free throws, you're advancing to the next round. And, we unfortunately, we saw that with Broome against Houston. They had the number one team, or the number one seed beat here in Birmingham, and unfortunately, he kept going to the stripe and just couldn't get it to go down.
That's right. Stephen Pearl joins the show in our next segment. We'll talk a little Auburn basketball after Brownie finishes that sip and tells us about the great folks at Johnston RV Center.
Yeah, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. It is show season, as we mentioned, and that is starting right now with Johnston RV Center. You good people listening to us up in Huntsville, you got a chance to go to the Von Braun Center and see all the RVs from Johnston RV, 10 to 7 Friday and Saturday, 10 to 5 on Sunday. Great incentives there, deep discounted pricing, special financing rates, gift cards to use in the camp store. And then next month, they'll be at the BJCC, Valentine's Day through the 16th, 14th through the 16th. Every incentive there. And by the way, all the incentives we're talking about, it's available on their lot too. So this is just expanding where you can get all this. So you can see it for yourself. Hey, how about that Wolf Pup 16 LP, just $129 a month with approved credit? JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Yeah. Wolf Pup.
The Wolf Pup.
Yesterday, the AP poll came out again, back-to-back weeks, 2 weeks in a row now. I think Auburn is unanimous number one team in the country. There you see them atop. Duke is 2. Duke has the win over Auburn. Duke struggled with a pretty bad NC State team last night.
What a weird game.
66-62 at one point.
It was a tight game.
74-64.
Well, Shire calls out Flag at halftime, tells him he's playing soft and too much finesse, and he goes out and slays it in the second half. It worked for Shire to Flag.
Yeah. I don't think Shire could put Flag on the bench in this game and win. I think Shire's smarter than that.
He didn't have Holloway or Philon to put in there.
Did not.
Hey, the weirdest thing in that game was that chick getting drug out of the stands.
Passes out, do we have an update on her before we talk about this?
Yeah, I heard she had just fainted.
Okay,
that was the report.
So for people that don't know, last night at Cameron Indoor, one of the crazies, Brownie, tell the story. So we're not speaking without everybody knowing the story.
We had just had a Duke player vomit on the court, which you almost never see in basketball. You see that in football some, and it took 7,000 Gatorade towels to wipe it up, apparently.
Yep.
Would not want that job,
that's what I was about to say. That's not the job I want.
Negative.
There's a good chance I am adding to the problem.
There is a 100% chance I am. And then there's a stoppage in the game, and the announcers are like, we just had a player get sick, and now we've had someone in the students. It's almost like the start of a bad horror film, right?
Is it like 1977 Airplane?
Who had the fish?
Oh, did you have the fish?
So this girl apparently passes out in the student section. Now, if you've watched the Cameron Crazies, you know they're body to body in there, and there's no room. They literally just go up in the crowd, and 3 or 4 of them just pick this girl and drag her out of the arena.
One guy throw her over his shoulder?
Yeah, just drag her out of the arena. They're like, all right, let's go. Let's inbound this thing and go. I mean, there was like no stoppage of play at all.
And hopefully the report is she's okay and she just fainted. For those that don't know, like at Auburn, these smaller arenas like this, quaint, great atmospheres. Students stand in line sometimes. Sometimes they camp out. Sometimes you're in line 2 hours before you even get in, 2 hours before the tip. So you're 4 hours before you even watch any basketball. You can get on the wrong side if you happen to drink. I don't know if she was, or didn't eat right, or just didn't sleep enough. It can happen to you. So
but can you imagine, like,
okay.
she's texting friends, family, hey, look at me, I'm on the third row.
That's right.
And
So
then
if you can see me on TV.
the next thing you know, she's legitimately getting drug out of there lifeless.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I mean,
how
her body was
freaked out would you
limp
be?
when they were carrying her. I mean, she was just laying in their arms.
But I don't know what the options were in that situation. You don't want her to get trampled. You got to get her out of there. And
yeah, I guess they checked her vitals real quick before they threw her over her shoulder and knew that she was breathing and
I would
pulse
hope
rate was okay.
But you were always told if you call 911 and you actually don't move. And I guess it depends, like with extremities, if somebody's fallen wrong or whatever. We see it all the time in football, how they're making sure that somebody is stable before they actually move them. And I guess it's a different situation if you're just fainting.
Like, I don't know if you guys saw the.
Of course, I don't know how they would have known she fainted.
Exactly.
Well, somebody caught her.
Yeah.
Right. If you're standing next to her,
She could have had an aneurysm.
Yeah, you could have.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be 1,000 things.
When I was in high school choir, we had a guy named David Cadle, big tall guy, and he locked his knees too long. You ever
Was
seen
it
somebody
show
do that?
choir or regular choir?
It's just regular choir.
Yeah.
And he locked his knees too long. You ever see anybody do that?
Oh yeah. It
And
used to happen
Cadle-
in marching band a lot.
Yeah.
Marching Southern Sounds at Thompson.
Cadle
You'd
ended
see
up,
just a clarinet player just.
Yeah, Cadle ended up playing college football at Jack State. I mean, he was a big kid, right? Played defensive end. He locks his knees and falls right between me and Jason Reeves. And, like, he just, started falling backwards. So me and Reeves just split, and both, I don't know, it was just instinct, both catch him, like, in his armpit and just lay him down. Oh. And, hey, choir director keeps going, man. We don't stop stop this song at all. We just gently laid David down and
How
kept
long
singing.
was he out for?
I mean, he laid on the ground, and he looked up like, what am I doing laying on the ground,
I've got a
You like those knees, you can go down quick.
buddy of mine had a little irregular heartbeat and didn't really know it until we were playing. It was a YMCA basketball game.
Yeah.
And he's dribbling. He was our point guard and our shooting guard. Really, the only talented basketball player we had on the team.
Head coach.
But he was dribbling it up the court, not at a fast pace. You're dribbling up the court, and all of a sudden, and I mean, his hand doesn't stop. I mean, he loses contact with the basketball, but his hand doesn't stop doing this motion as he just nosedives.
Oh no!
So
he just dribbles right into the court.
Yeah. And
did somebody get the steal and get a breakaway?
They did pick up the ball, but obviously everyone stopped. But he just something had happened, missed a beat or something, and he had fainted. But it was the body's natural reaction. I guess brain working differently. He's fainting, and without the ball, he's still doing this all the way to the ground, and he's face first, bloody nose,
that's awful.
and everything.
I mean, we were at the game where Houston coach Tom Penders, I don't think it was a heart attack, but he fainted and got a technical called on him. You remember that?
I
don't you?
remember that.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah,
that,
Houston at UAB.
Penders had that perm, remember?
Yeah, Penders had that perm, and he's getting after the officials, and I think he just fainted or passed out. I don't think he had a heart attack, but they had to cart him off. I don't know if you remember this. They stopped the game, and they had to come cart him off. And I think UAB still shot the. I don't think they wiped the technical. I think UAB still shot the free throws.
I mean, how do you not wipe the technical?
I don't know what the rules are there.
Has anybody ever died on the sideline?
I've never seen that. I mean, unfortunately, Pete Maravich, but that was in a
Pickup game,
game after his career. But I've never seen something.
Hank
like that.
Gathers on the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess technically later in the hospital, right?
Where was Tommy Joe Eagles?
Oh, I don't
that
know.
Heart attack?
I don't think it was during any
don't
sort of
think it was
action
during the game.
But Cameron Indoor doesn't have AC, right? I mean, it's like the Carrier Dome. I don't think they do. I don't think they have AC in that joint. So you wonder, like, How do they rate?
Maggie won't know.
Yeah, your wife.
She's been to a couple of games, but she wouldn't know.
So I mean, I don't know how you regulate the temperature in there. It could have just been really hot in there. That's why we got a kid throwing up and a girl passing out.
Yeah, I did peek downstairs last night to see if she was watching the Duke NC State game.
No.
Some British show she was watching. Here's the AP Top 25 again with Auburn unanimously number 1. Duke, Iowa State, who lost last night, more on that in a second. Alabama 4. Florida is 5. Houston, Michigan State, Tennessee 8. Marquette, Purdue. And then more SEC teams. Kentucky 12. A&M 13. Mississippi State is 14. Missouri is 20. Ole Miss is 23. Vandy is 24. 10 SEC teams. No other conference has more than 5. Vandy's in there for the first time since 2015. Pretty strong roll there from the Southeastern
I'll tell you this. So Kentucky at 12, they're 10th in the SEC.
Yeah, hey, that's right. And
that is insane.
They've lost 2 straight games, and they're 12th. And Ole Miss has lost, 3 straight?
Yeah, have they won since they beat Alabama? I don't think they have.
I mean, Tennessee
did 1 game maybe, but I know they've lost 3 games.
3-3 in their last 6. Kentucky 3-2 in their last 5.
Yeah.
But that's hard to believe that Kentucky is 10th in the SEC and 12th nationally.
Yeah, and keep in mind as we battle for those double buys at the SEC tournament in Nashville, big game tonight, Kentucky and Tennessee, 12 versus 8 in the country, and started a little separation of the top half and bottom half of the SEC rankings.
I will say as you look at that, and look, there's a lot of basketball that's got to be played. If Alabama can win tomorrow night against Mississippi State and then at home against Georgia Saturday, they should jump Iowa State after that loss at Arizona. I don't know that Duke's going to lose, though. NC State played them way closer than I would have thought. I'm trying to set up what I guess it's got to be the first time in the history of a 1-2 Alabama-Auburn basketball game.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get.
It's going to be hard. Duke's going to have to lose, but
and you're not going to get there in any of the metrics either. You're not
like the Ken Palms and whatnot.
Like Houston's big win at Kansas is going to cement them, even though Auburn and Alabama both have them. It's going to cement them at least being a divider between Alabama and Auburn there.
I would be shocked if Alabama runs the table going into the Auburn game.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, if they get past State, it's a pretty forgiving schedule.
Yeah, you still got to go to Arkansas and to Texas. I mean, 3 of 4 games on the road.
I think Alabama's a better road team right now, though, I think.
Their metrics.
Do you think that? Their metrics say they are.
Paul, who watches and listens to our show, sent us the metrics yesterday. They are a better 3-point and shooting team on the road than they are at Coleman Coliseum.
Would they be
turn the damn lights on at Coleman?
Would they be favored at Arkansas and Texas?
Yeah, they'll be favored at those games.
I would think.
And I mean, they might even be favored at State. I'm going to lean State to 1.5 point favorite.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean they're going to be close to a pick or favorites in all of those games. But man, if you win 3 or 4 on the road, that's pretty impressive.
It is.
Hemphill brings us the lock, lanceslock.com for more plays tonight and tomorrow night with your college basketball and a lot more. Tell us about Hemphill and the lock.
Yeah, jump on board with us. We have a total of 8 plays up today. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services, 205-229-2090. Trust the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Any of those arise in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Let me quickly point out before the chat does, Auburn actually has a more difficult road to make that a 1-2.
Oh, I know. We make a prediction on the basketball show. They're on the road at Ole Miss, home to Florida.
And at Vandy, which has become a really difficult place to play of late.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. That game will not be a contest.
Okay.
I mean, that Vandy team, guys, come on.
Auburn in Nashville is not going to be a contest.
No, first of all, there'll be more Auburn fans there than there will be Vandy fans. And it's because Auburn, they do that, especially at Vandy.
Hey, Auburn fans, I hope you know Dunaway does this to you.
No. I've just said.
What happened last year with yelling Auburn?
I've just said Alabama's going to win at Mississippi State.
I know.
So I'm not trying to play games. So
no, but I'm just asking, though. I'm just asking what happened.
Yeah, but I don't think I was the only one that thought Auburn would beat Yale. Am I wrong on that?
No, but you had to win the national championship. I think that was why it was. Yeah. It was.
Well, I mean, basically the same team back. Are they number 1 unanimously in the country right now? I wasn't crazy picking Auburn to win the national championship last year.
But they did get beat in the first round.
Yeah, they did. It was an upset that I don't think anybody projected.
But I don't know how you're saying Vanderbilt's not good at home.
I didn't say Vanderbilt's not good at home. I watched them beat Tennessee and Kentucky. I'm telling you, Auburn will beat Vandy in Nashville because Vandy is not as good as Auburn. Vandy isn't as good as Alabama. In Nashville, in Auburn, in Maui, wherever you want to play that.
Dangerous game. Dangerous game.
It's not a dangerous game.
Just like you said, Buffalo was going to run off. Buffalo was going to run KC off the field this weekend.
Go see our prediction. I don't want to give it away, but I do think Auburn loses before they play Alabama.
Yeah, I think both will lose.
It's just not in Nashville. Got to get to this for Stephen Pearl. So please, last night in basketball, Trey Donaldson, one-time Auburn star, 9-0 run to end the game. He had 7 of the 9-0 run, and Michigan beats Penn State last night 76-72. Trey Donaldson in that game hit a big three with 27 seconds left to put Michigan up to stay. He had 21 points. He had a great game last night. But the biggest moment in basketball last night was Caleb Love, who was 1 of 10 from 3. 1 of 10 from 3. And Iowa State made the mistake of hitting a free throw to put them up 3, 71-68 with, 2.2 seconds?
2.2, but I mean, you say make the mistake. All you got to do is hit both free throws and the game's over.
But he hit the last one.
Yeah, you're saying miss it, and then they've got to scramble on a play. They can't
get a
inbound.
rebound and get a shot
That's
off.
dangerous.
I get that, but still, then you lose the game.
That's dangerous if they hit it.
Yeah, if he makes it. But in 2.2 on an inbound play.
Well, how about call a timeout and just foul it?
He got it to 3/4.
I mean, that was a 60-footer that he hit. I mean, the chances are 1%.
He drains it, ties it up 71-71. He was 1 of 10 from 3, hits a 3/4 court shot that sends it to overtime, and then Caleb Love actually hits 2 big threes in overtime. He got hot off the 3/4 shot, and Arizona wins it. Iowa State, who you saw there, number 3 in the rankings, now is 3rd in the Big 12. Arizona is a half game behind Houston. They only play each other one time. They play each other on February the 15th in Tucson. What other games on February the 15th?
Oh, that's Auburn visiting Tuscaloosa.
That's Auburn visiting Tuscaloosa.
What a day.
That night, you're going to have Auburn, Alabama, Houston, Arizona in basketball on February 15th.
Yes, sir.
Where will game day be?
It's a Saturday game. I bet it's
in
actually
Tuscaloosa.
Little T projects it'll be in Tuscaloosa.
It'll be in Tuscaloosa. I mean,
When's the last time they were in Tuscaloosa?
Last year.
Yeah. All right. When we come back, Stephen Pearl joins the show after game day was in Auburn for the 5th straight year this past week. Unanimous number 1. Schedule gets more interesting after a big win over Tennessee. What Stephen Pearl thinks of the Auburn win, Janai Broome gutting it out, and where the Tigers are heading. That's in the next segment. Clay Travis with us at 10. The show being brought to you by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. If you want to stay on top of your health, guys, when you move from your 20s to your 30s and 30s to 40s to 50s to 60s, you need a good urologist on hand. That's the folks at Urology Centers of Alabama. They handle everything: vasectomies, prostate health, kidney stones, everything in between. All your urological needs. 16 great locations. Visit urologycentersalabama.com. Call the number on the screen for an appointment, or just check out and find the one closest to you, urologycentersalabama.com.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the BJCC with customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall, sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only, meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday, it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday, meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
You
could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
When the clock hits 0, go to all Next Round video platforms for instant reactions for the latest Auburn and Alabama basketball games. Follow, like, subscribe, and set those alerts. The madness starts now, so be a part of it at Next Round Live on all social platforms. In the SEC tonight, number 12 Kentucky, number 8 Tennessee, 6 o'clock on ESPN. South Carolina's at Georgia. Georgia's too good of a basketball team to have the few number of wins they have, and South Carolina's looking for their first win, something they'll give their 6 o'clock SEC network. And then Oklahoma's on the road at A&M, 8 o'clock on the SEC network. Big games, Baylor and BYU. Huge game for North Carolina on the road at Pitt tonight. Some good basketball down the road this evening.
Auburn Associate Head Coach Stephen Pearl with us now. He joins us each week. What is up, Coach? How are you today?
What's up, fellas? How we doing?
Doing good. Coming off that breather against Tennessee. Nice to get an easy win, right?
That was. People talk about rock fights and fist fights. That was the definition of it right there.
Yeah, it was. We were talking about this the other day. I mean, the officials allowed it to be played at a very physical style of basketball. Is that something like, as coaches, when you see it, or you're like, hey, try to match their physicality, or is it just natural that your team is going to do it as long as the refs don't blow the whistle?
Yeah, no, we prefer it that way, just because that's kind of our brand of basketball, especially defensively. You know, if the officials are going to let us play, we think that benefits us. So we try and tell our guys, like, don't complain to the officials for ticky-tack fouls, because all that's going to do is have them do the exact same thing on the other end of the floor, which is what we want to try to avoid. So, we told the coordinator officials, we understand that was an incredibly difficult game to officiate, and I'm sure you get on Twitter and both fan bases are bitching about the refs. And I'm like, those guys have an impossible job when they're night in, night out in the SEC. This is the toughest conference in America to officiate because of, one, the level of athletes and the pace of play. But now you got, a bunch of ridiculously talented guys on each team to match that, physicality and that athleticism. So just a really hard job for those guys. And I thought they did a really good job. And, it was definitely one of the most physical games that we coached in 11 years since we've been here. So, hats off to Tennessee. They came in and the environment didn't overwhelm them, and they grinded it out and kept it as close as they possibly could for 40 minutes.
When we had you on last week, you were talking about Zakai Ziegler, and you were like, "This guy had eligibility back when I was playing." And listening to the broadcast on Saturday night, Billis brought up the fact if there was an all-respect team, Ziegler would be one of those guys that would be on that team. I mean, he does everything. Shots weren't necessarily going down, but man, I mean, when you talk about an all-respect guy, Ziegler is one of those guys.
Yeah, no, Barnes talks about it pretty openly in a lot of his press conferences, saying that he probably wouldn't be doing this anymore if it wasn't for Zakai Ziegler. So that's an incredibly, that's high praise right there, for a coach to say that I'm still doing this because of one specific player. Just tells you everything you need to know about him as a player, as a teammate, as a young man. So he played really well for them, and he was probably their most effective offense. And we talked about before the game, if he shoots 15 shots, we feel like we'll win the game, because you want him to be more aggressive offensively shooting the ball instead of being able to facilitate to the guys on the floor, because he's the one guy that can create his own shot, but he does such a great job of creating shots for others. So I thought our guys, for the first time all season, we locked in defensively for 40 minutes, and that was probably one of our best, if not our best, defensive effort, against a team that was, they were top 15 in the country in offensive efficiency, and, to hold them to the point total that we did, and they didn't hit their first three until late in the second half. I thought our guys did a good job of locking into the scouting report and kind of honing in on what we needed to do to be successful. And, for our defense to not be dictated by our offensive performance, that's growth. And that's something that teams in the past wouldn't have done. They would have seen that, that our guards were 0 for 19 in the first half from the field, and they would have stopped guarding because they were upset that their offense wasn't going. Not on Saturday night. Our guys just stayed locked in, and we knew that eventually a shot or two was going to fall. It was as long as we continued to defend, and I thought we did a pretty good job of that.
I love interviews where I learn something. So you just told me something I did not, like if somebody had said Auburn prefers it to be played the way it was played the other night, I would have said that's insane because they can play a multitude of different ways. Why would they want it to be that way? So I learned something there. Tell me something about a shooter like Miles Kelly when the shots aren't falling. You were a shooter, not as good as Miles, but you were a shooter. How do you have the confidence to hit that shot he hit in the corner when nothing was dropping on a night like that? How do you have that confidence? Why did he make that shot?
I would honestly say, we were in the first half, after every shot, we were like, Dan, that was a good look. That was a good look. And eventually I'm like, well, it would be nice if one of these good looks started to fall in. But we felt good about the looks that we were getting. And then to go back and watch the film, we got a lot of really clean looks in the first half. We just didn't make them. Those are shots we typically have made this season, which is why our offensive numbers have been the way they were. So I think the fact that, Miles had gotten a couple clean looks in the first half, on top of the fact that Miles is one of the hardest workers in all of college basketball, he just has the ultimate confidence that every shot he takes is going in. And that's something that'll never waver with Miles. That's what makes Miles so special. And guys like Tahad and Denver and, Chad Baker, those guys are all the same way. Every shot that goes up, regardless of if they've missed, 10, we've given them the green light and the confidence to continue to shoot those shots. And I think, all great shooters have that mentality that regardless of, how many you've missed, the next one's going in. So I think Miles, obviously he got one off with I want to say 6 or 7 minutes at the top of the key where he hit one. That obviously was great for him to see it go in. And then as soon as Janai, not enough being talked about Janai's, wherewithal and awareness to, after his shot gets blocked, catch it, 2 hands as he's falling out of bounds, find Miles in the corner, which is where we always tell guys to be on penetration. Miles is in the right spot at the right time. Janai hits a on-time, on-target pass. They have a guy flying at Miles to contest the shot, and Miles just bangs the shot. But I think, a combination of the amount of hours and time spent in the gym, in addition to, feeling like we had really good looks. And in the huddles, we would tell the guys, listen, we're getting great looks. Keep running our offense. Keep doing what we're doing. The shots are going to fall eventually. And sure enough, 1 or 2 did late down the stretch.
Stephen Pearl is with us, the associate head coach at Auburn. As a coach, from a coaching perspective, you mentioned the way the game was officiated. When you see the opposing coach throw a water bottle and it explodes and they have to stop the game and wipe it up and he doesn't get a technical, do you file that one away too and be like, okay, if that's not going to draw a tech, yeah.
Yeah, you would think so, but I think just the time and situation of the game, the referees use their discretion to not make it about the officials and let it more be about the game. And I think that's just good awareness and understanding by those officials to kind of let that one slide, because it was a very high intensity game, a very high stakes game. Yeah, in most cases that's a technical foul, but Coach Barnes is one of the best coaches in the country. He's earned an amount of respect that he can get away with something like that potentially. So wasn't surprising that they didn't hit him on that, but yeah, that just kind of shows you, for a guy that's pretty mild mannered and pretty composed in all situations, for him to obviously slam the water bottle. That just shows you how intense that game was for 40 minutes.
We've talked a lot about the emotion and the intensity of the game. There was a situation I know you guys don't want with Ja'Kai Howard where the emotion kind of boiled over and he had to be sent to the locker room. What has been his response to that? What have you seen out of him since?
Yeah, we talked about in the locker room yesterday, what can we be better at, and we went through the whole room, talked to every single guy, and, guys talked about communication on defense. Guys talked about, boxing out to not allow offensive rebounds. Coaches talked about getting on to the next play quicker. And, Ja'Kai talked about being a better teammate and handling his emotions. So to have the awareness to see that, he needs to get better in those situations, it's just part of what we deal with as coaches. That's part of growing, and that's part of, getting better. It happens on the floor. It happens off the floor, as we've seen, with parents. It's just that there's a lot that goes into our day to day, and it's the players' jobs to obviously want to have the best out of their performance. It's the parents' jobs to love their kids and motivate their kids and be there and be a parent for their kids. And it's our jobs as coaches to try and get the best out of them and teach them important lessons. And I think, while Ja'Kai is an incredibly talented young man, it's a process where we're trying to grow together and help him, obviously get better and obviously on the floor and even in the mental side of things. So it's just another learning experience. And, I think Ja'Kai's been accountable for it. And, he's obviously ready to grow and get better from it.
I know you guys were excited about getting Broome back on the court. I would assume you didn't see 33 minutes coming. With that said, they talked about his PT over the last couple of weeks and how involved and in-depth it was. Can you kind of go through that schedule as much as you know? I mean, it seemed like they were talking he was doing like 12 to 14 hours a day of physical therapy.
Yeah, he was in there from the time, Clark and Amber walked in to the time they left, and then he was doing stuff on his own at home for 2 straight weeks. So obviously, the attention to detail, the dedication that he showed to obviously get right and get ready was obviously really impressive. Like the day that Auburn had a bunch of snow, the university was closed down, and he was calling us being like, like, where is everyone? How can Amber and Clark get in here? I'm like, Janai, the roads are completely iced over. Like, give it a couple hours so they can come in and see you. But like, it was to that point where it didn't matter what the circumstance was. Janai wanted to find a way to get back for this game. And, he practiced to a certain extent on Thursday and Friday leading up to the game. And, obviously on Saturday, he was moving differently than he was the 2 days prior. So, it looked like he was as close to, he wasn't 100%. He was probably 90% in that game. And you can kind of tell in certain situations he wasn't as, explosive or as strong off that foot. But, he had done an unbelievable job up to that point, and then the swelling wasn't nearly as bad as, as you would think it would have been on Sunday. So, just credit to him, credit to our training staff, credit to our strength and conditioning staff. They just did such a great job of just locking in with him. But for the kid to dedicate, the most time of anyone to try and get back just speaks to, his selflessness and the fact that he wants to be out there with his teammates and try and continue to, build on what we have going right now.
I got 2 real quickly, but Auburn at LSU tomorrow night. Is there a chance he'll rest in that game, or is he a full go?
No, Janai's, he's planning on playing. He's a full go. Practiced yesterday. So, I think for him, it's just continuing to stay in the training room and continue to strengthen, that injury and, basically more of a preventative maintenance type thing as the season continues to go on. So, Janai was in practice yesterday and, plans on playing because, 2 tough road games this week, 2 more quad 1 opportunities this week. So Janai is going to want to be out there and give it a go.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because you're very complimentary of the officials, almost like you're the unanimous #1 team in the country and you got nothing to complain about. And you had College Game Day there this week and you're #1 in the metrics. Recruiting, I assume, never really stops. Talk about the billboard that was Game Day, the AP poll every time it comes out. Are you guys flooding that to recruits, potential recruits, future recruits? How does that work during the season?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously have, 3 really talented young men locked in for next year. So 25 class is pretty much done. But then obviously having this exposure will be really good for our transfer portal class coming in. Because you look at our roster, you look at guys like Janai Broom, you look at Chad Baker-Mazzara, Denver Jones, Chaney Johnson, Miles Kelly, Jaheim Hudson, JP Pegues, all transfers, all came in and are a part of the #1 team in the country. So that's obviously great fuel for, a really important transfer portal class with the amount of guys that we're losing. And then obviously the 26 class, is obviously getting bombarded with graphics and different things of, all the different things that we've had going on this year. So College Game Day coming to Auburn 5 straight years, no one else has done that in the country to date. So that's obviously something that we're very proud of. And it's something that, obviously really helps us in recruiting because it's something that kids all want to do and play in front of. And we recognize how fortunate we are and, are trying to enjoy every minute of it. But yeah, try and use it to the best of our ability to, continue to grow the brand and grow Auburn basketball and Auburn University.
It is Auburn at LSU, 6 o'clock, SEC Network tomorrow night. Best of luck in that game, Coach. As always, we appreciate the time.
Hey guys, I want to thank you for the onesie, the next round onesie for Lainey. She'll be rocking that this week at some point. So appreciate you guys. Very much.
That was all Taylor.
Yeah,
Little T put that together, and
that's awesome.
We were debating: we get it there in time before she outgrows it? Is it too big for her right now? So we were wondering size-wise, how does it? Because none of us are at that point in our lives where we got that size of a baby anymore.
She's the perfect size. I'll get Brittany to put her in it this week, and I'll shoot you guys a picture.
Fantastic.
Right. Thank you.
Please do. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, put Nelly in it too.
Yeah. Wrong size for that. See you, Coach.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
War Eagle. Thanks.
That is Stephen Pearl, the associate head coach of the Auburn Tigers, with us on the Johnston RV Center.com hotline.
Yeah, I mean, I no longer have a gauge on how big babies are anymore at a certain period of time. And when Taylor was holding it up for the first time, I was like, seems like we just had the baby. It looks a little big. But then I think to myself, how quick they grew through those first little amount of clothes you had.
Yeah, I saw Steven carrying the baby down to game day on Saturday. And I think the majority of guys, it's just hard to, like, you can't get a feel for a kid that small.
Oh.
I mean, that is mom time for me.
I think you and I are a lot alike. Like once mine turned 1, I became a lot more involved. I was scared of them.
It was more when they could wipe their own ass.
Yeah.
When they could wipe their own ass and communicate is when I became a big fan.
Yeah, I was, when I didn't have to hold them anymore, I became a lot better. I was always nervous. I had to be sitting down, and Maggie had to hand it off to me. And I would always say, don't let go until I say I have her. Don't let go until I say I have her. Don't let go. I mean, it's different with Carter. We didn't care as much. But with the first one, the second one, you're like,
the second one, they're just like, they'll quit
it's
crying.
fine.
Don't worry about that.
Toss them over here.
Yeah, they'll quit crying at some point. You ain't got to worry about that.
Just
shut the door and turn the TV
up. Good. I'm glad he got it there. You never know with the system today. Some porch pirate stole it and said, oh, I've got this onesie here. Don't even have a baby. All right, show being brought to you by our friends right there at A+. Tell us about A+, Brownie, as they always waiting to you about to drink. Tell us about A+.
It's like a NASCAR interview, just like I just won the event. A+, bathandkitchen.com. That's going to be the website you want to make sure you've got note of. A+, bathandkitchen.com. That is our guy, Brad Bell. When it came time to redo the master bath in the Brown home, my wife scoured the internet looking for the right person for the job. She selected Brad Bell, and I am glad she did. His crews did tremendous work. They were clean. They were efficient. They were on time. At the end of each day, they would bring us in and say, okay, here's what we've done today. Does this meet your specifications? I mean, just top-level work right there. He specializes in master baths, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. That's his specialty. That's not to say it's all he does, but it's what you're going to enjoy while you own the home, and it's where you're going to make your money back when you go to sell the home. A+bathandkitchen.com, or give Brad a call, 205-422-1758. That's 205-422-1758, A+bathandkitchen.com.
I wanted to mention again that 39-year-old Todd Golden was cleared by the university in their investigation. We mentioned it yesterday. And then Todd Golden posted last night and thanked people for the support through that. ESPN actually had the complaint that multiple people were impacted, but Florida says there were no evidence of any wrongdoing at all. So that's why they cleared Todd Golden there, age 39, and he's got a basketball team right now that is ranked number 5 in the country.
Did he say he's going after somebody's ass?
He did not. He was just very thankful and of the opportunity. He said it was really rough on his family.
Oh, I bet.
In that situation. The McDonald's All-American team is announced. Last year, I think Auburn had 1. Alabama had 2 on the McDonald's All-American team last year for the high school game. This year, no Alabama or Auburn player. There's a couple of undecided guys, so I won't say they won't end up within one. But of the guys that are there, do you know the 2 universities that have the most? 2 schools have 3.
I will say Kansas, and I will say Kentucky.
Kentucky's got 1. Kansas may have 1.
Duke
Kentucky may have 2.
I was going to guess Duke. I was going to guess Shire still getting after it on the recruiting
Duke has
trail.
3, and UConn has 3. But Duke sort of cheats. They got a pair of twins. The Boozer twins of Carlos Boozer.
Wow, legacy twins.
Yeah, and they're on their way to Duke, and apparently they are studs. And
well, he was a stud.
Yes, he
Carlos
was.
Boozer says, man, they have they've earned this on their own. They have worked their butts off. They're McDonald's All-Americans. Both of them are on their way to Duke. That All-Star game is coming up pretty soon.
Got Dan Hurley coming up in 4 downs, by the way.
Dan Hurley of that UConn team coming
Most unlikable coach in all of sports?
All of sports, yes. Yes. Who's more unlikable than Dan Hurley?
Well,
I mean, Sirianni's right there.
Let's do that as a topic after Clay.
All right.
I'll come back. Dan Hurley.
Yeah.
Most unlikable. Have we done that before?
Not that I can remember.
In March?
Maybe in March.
We might have done it at some point with Saban.
It's the NCAA tournament.
We may have done it with Hurley already. Let's do the Spotlight. Brought to you by McCurry. Hit it, man.
The College Football Spotlight.
They make it easy to rent those difficult-to-find vehicles in and out quick all over North Alabama. McCurry Van and Car Rental. You can find them in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, 2nd Avenue Northwest in Coleman, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve that rental today, 256-559-1003. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
This is going to be a couple of home field situations. Not really a talking point here, but Bill Belichick has so much power in North Carolina. He comes in and instantly says, get rid of the turf. We're going back to natural grass at Keenan Stadium. Here's the announcement. Returning to its roots, Keenan Stadium will be grass next year. So Belichick comes in, you're paying me $10 million a year, you're putting all this money in, and by the way, we're not playing on turf. Put the grass back down.
Could this just be an inside joke? Hey, let's see how much you can get North Carolina to spend in football because they never have before.
That's right.
Just take the job for a year, and if you can get them to spend $100 million somehow, we'll give you X amount of dollars.
That's where somebody said, hey, even as bad as Hubert Davis is, if he said today he wanted a new court, they'd have it tomorrow.
Yeah.
See if we can do the same thing with grass.
See, it would be funny if he's like, see if you can get him to put with that Carolina blue, like a Patriot red stripe somewhere in the uniform.
Do you think this shows how much NFL coaches hate artificial turf?
I thought that was the first thing I thought was he's coming in and he's going to sell his guys on, I played in the NFL. I know the problems on turf. We're going to be natural grass.
But I
would
thought,
guess
am I wrong? I thought in Foxborough,
I think
because
it is
the Rams
artificial.
played there this year against Drake May, I thought it was sport turf.
Well, I think it is. I think a lot of those, like Buffalo is. I mean, it's going to be impossible this time of year to have any sort of grass up there with the type of weather they get.
So he's on natural grass there. But this is the highlight of the Spotlight here. The ACC schedule released yesterday. No real big talking points out of it, except this: Georgia Tech is going to play another game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium this year. It is its rivalry game with Georgia. Georgia Tech at Mercedes-Benz. It's indoor Thanksgiving weekend, so you get a better chance of weather. But is that a mistake or a good move by Georgia Tech? You make the call.
I mean, you're basically saying we'll take all the Georgia fans' money we can. I mean, that's essentially what you're saying right there, because you're not going to sell a single extra ticket to a Georgia Tech fan there. They can get all they want at Grant Field.
Right.
You're just saying we'll have more seats so we can sell all the tickets we can to Georgia fans, make all the money off them we can.
Your season ticket package obviously will include that. So if you're a Georgia Tech season ticket holder, you've got that ticket and a seat at Mercedes-Benz
I would assume
Stadium.
concessions are cheaper than they are at Bobby Dodd, though.
Probably. So it's a good deal for the fans.
But I don't know how that works. If you're at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, do you even get the concessions? You may be giving up concessions at that point. You're definitely giving up parking.
Yeah, I don't like this. I don't think college football needs any more off-campus games than we already have. On campus is what sets college football apart. So.
Yeah, and especially a rivalry game.
Yeah.
Smart move. You like it or
I
no?
don't like it.
I mean, it's going to be a 50-50. I mean,
and again, I've never been to Bobby Dodd. I've been outside of it.
Looks like a good
drove past it a week ago today. But
I'm going to the varsity next door.
It looks like it's got a good little intimate atmosphere. But you get nothing but empty seats in this game for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I went to it in the 80s. Bo Jackson, Auburn, Georgia Tech game, and they've since reduced it and modernized it. I was sitting on wooden bleachers, actually, in the upper deck in the end zone.
How was that Ramblin' Wreck jalopy? Did you see it up close?
Oh, I did, yeah. It's a jalopy, so it's smaller than a normal-sized car, but...
So is it like a Kia Soul?
They
ought to switch that up, shouldn't they?
Kia Soul instead of the Ramblin' Wreck.
It's bigger than one of those MGs that you'd see right around, but it was probably the size of my Sunbird back in the 80s.
Damn, they seem like they fit like 7 or 8 people hanging out of that thing.
They're hanging on it, but it's more impressive to me than it didn't disappoint me like the wagon did from Oklahoma.
The Boomer Schooner.
Yeah.
I think the cocktail party is moving to Mercedes-Benz while they redo the stadium in Jacksonville. Am I wrong about that? Or while they build the new stadium?
Why would you just not do on campus when you're doing the renovations?
But I think I'm right about that. So, I mean, Georgia's going to play a lot.
So Jacksonville is doing renovations again to that shitty stadium?
No, I think they're just building a new one, aren't they?
I think what is happening, Brown, is they're doing one at Mercedes-Benz, one at Camping World in Orlando.
That might be
Right?
correct. Yeah, that might be correct.
Florida wouldn't agree to both of them in Atlanta.
Yeah, you're right about that.
I think it's Camping World.
Without a ton of money.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, Georgia, they opened the season in Mercedes-Benz. They play the conference championship game there.
Actually, it's going on campus. I think it's going on campus.
That's right.
I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia, the games they play now in Mercedes, it's kind of like Alabama-like back in the 80s and early 90s, where you're mixing in 3 games a year in Birmingham.
Yeah, okay, in Birmingham, yeah. That's our spotlight today, brought to you by our friends at McCurry. Always not easy to always get a good rental. They'll do it, whether it's trucks, vans, or cars. They'll take care of that. I thought I saw where they were going to move one home, and then back to Jacksonville when the new stadium is done down in Jacksonville.
2026 Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Okay.
And Raymond James is the other one.
Oh, and
so they are not doing it on campus. 2027 is Raymond James.
Okay.
Yep.
And they'll build that stadium in 2 years?
I guess. I don't know. So they're knocking down the current stadium and just building right there.
Yeah.
That's why they got to do it this way.
And it's going to be
It'll take 2 years. Yeah.
But it's not going to have like it's not going to have like a dome on top of it like SoFi. It's going to be open air.
I have not seen. Yeah. I have not seen any drawings. I do not know, but I know it's going to be on that same property because I think they're technically calling it a renovation, but I think it's going to be a complete gut job.
Yeah, they've renovated it one big time already when they did go on campus, didn't they?
Yeah, they did the 2 on campus, and Florida dominated those, so Georgia would like a little payback there, I'm sure.
All right, top of the hour, Clay Travis on the other side, and then we'll answer LT's question, is Dan Hurley. We'll do 4 downs. Probably should do that before we do.
Got Belichick in it, too.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll do the 4 downs, and then the Dan Hurley, Belichick, and other questions. All that coming up on the show that is brought to you today by our friends at New Life Art. If you're looking for that great piece of work with Alabama's great sports moments, basketball and football, but mostly football, you can do it with DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. Right now, you're still celebrating 17 great years of the legend Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa, a tribute to Coach Nick Saban and his 6 national championships. Go check it all out and all the works. Use the promo code TNR. DanielMooreArt.com. DanielMooreArt.com.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter @ScottForresterTV.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short-notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays. Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the refreshed collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Hang out with The Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Good basketball conversation with Stephen Pearl there. Good basketball conversation the whole first hour of the show. We'll flip to some NFL and college football. This hour of the show being brought to you by our friends at Way to Wellness. Brownie, you got something before we move in?
I was just going to quickly say, if you enjoy a good basketball conversation with good basketball coaches like Stephen Pearl, you'll enjoy also Nate Oats, the Alabama basketball coach, with us at 9:45 tomorrow.
Okay.
Obviously, it'll be available on demand, but if you just want to hear it live, watch it live, 9:45 tomorrow with the Alabama basketball coach.
All right, so Nate's back on the show tomorrow at 9:45. Well, that's game day.
It is game day on the road in Starkville.
Yeah. So he'll be. I wonder if they go to Starkville, or do they stay in their home and just drive that bus ride over?
Yeah, I would think you'd bus it over.
Yeah. But they stayed in Birmingham for the Birmingham games, both the exhibition and the game at the BJCC.
Yeah,
you get in the habit of go on the road.
That's right. Yeah.
I like to eat at restaurants anyway.
Go to Little Dewey's.
Yeah, I don't care.
Well, you can bitch about them.
Yeah. Probably so. I did.
Boy, he did it. I mean, one of the we can't do it on the show because I don't want Jim to keep. Well, actually, it probably helped their business, but he had an all-timer the other day.
Yeah, Friday night, Maggie and I had date night, and she picked the restaurant.
And I asked him when I got in Monday, how was date night Friday night? Oh, Brown. And he went through the whole menu.
Everything was fantastic, but the
food.
The food was.
So when you're eating, though, during the meal, do you tell her the food sucks?
Oh, I think she
knows.
She agreed.
Okay.
I think she agreed.
Oh, did she? She was with you.
Well, you say I mean, we've had the conversation before. We've gone, and I'm like, damn, this is good. And Dunaway's like, this sucks.
Oh, I know.
Well, no, but see, last time I was with Brown and EG and Mikey at SEC, I bit my tongue. I didn't say anything.
No, that was a bad meal.
I didn't say anything. And then later on, somebody said, that wasn't the best steak ever. And then EG said, "Oh, I thought it was horrible." And I said, "Thank God."
Yeah,
I wasn't going to say anything, but it was disgusting.
That was a bad steak. I'll give you that one.
Yeah. So I felt bad. The food, I'm sure, was spectacular. It was a French concept, and they love sauces.
Yeah. So and Maggie did pick this, right?
Oh yeah.
French.
You know me. I didn't
French. You think Dunaway's going to go French?
I would have taken us to walk-ons and we'd watch Big Ten basketball while I was eating Avery Island salad with grilled chicken. All right. I did have a nice bottle of French wine, though. It ended up being okay.
Yeah.
Good dessert and stuff. Let's get to Clay Travis after I tell you about our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living, whether it's meal replacements, injection therapy, anything to jumpstart your weight loss. Maybe you just want to control your cholesterol, your blood pressure. You can do that by just having a better diet. Leslie and her board-certified team can help you out. Way to Wellness, aplanforme.com. There's no contract. There's no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is absolutely free. So many Next Round viewers and listeners have gone there and helped Leslie grow her business to this point. Aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com.
All right, Clay Travis joins us now, founder of Outkick, at Clay Travis on social media. You see him on Fox as well. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline right now. I did not know, Clay, what AI would bring this world, but for those that think AI only does bad, you need to go look at Clay's Twitter timeline because people are AIing Clay playing a flute for some reason, and it is spectacular.
I think AI basically exists to make fun of me, at least according to the people who follow me on social media. A while back, I don't remember. It's probably been like a year or more. I said that anybody who chose as a male to play the flute had made an indefensibly bad choice with their, high school band decisions. And that, I said, look, some people enjoy holding long, phallic-shaped objects close to their mouth and blowing on them for fun. Not me. Do as one does. And the flute community of the world they were outraged that I would criticize anyone who decided to do the flute. And recently, when they had the guy come out and do the saxophone before the Eagles playoff game, I went on social media and I was like, this is why you don't choose the flute. I was like, I dare any team member, team owner, or team executive to pick a guy to come out and play the flute national anthem. I was like, the team wouldn't take the field. They would demand that you sell the team if you were the owner. And as a result of that, people started just putting me playing the flute in all sorts of different contexts.
Scott is showing some.
Yeah, we've got one on the screen of you playing it for Selena Gomez, though. She looks. If I could get Selena Gomez to look at me like that, I may pick that flute up.
She's crying tears of deportation on that flute.
Tears of joy with Cleveland.
Anything pop culture is immediately AI'd with me with the flute. Anything historic, like the JFK, MLK, RFK files got released. Next thing you know, I'm playing the flute there on the hillside at Dealey Plaza as JFK is driving by. I got to give credit. The amount of ingenuity that has come out of ways to mock me has impressed me. The number of clothes that I am wearing is rapidly declined. I'm frequently in a Speedo, often a pink Speedo on the beach, occasionally with a scarf thrown over my shoulders, like when it snowed on 30A. I mean, I can barely keep up with it. So this is what AI exists for, so far as I can tell, is just new ways to make fun of me.
A worthy endeavor.
By the way, AIU has some great biceps. We're looking at the pink Speedo one now, and you're getting after the biceps.
Dunaway wants a date.
I was going to ask you, though, because I was a saxophone player, but it sounds like I'm okay as a saxophone player because I'm actually putting it in my mouth at that point. I'm good?
Wow.
Oh, that is just pull that phrase.
Let's do that. There's your trash open, Tyler, if you're looking for one.
Already on it.
Yeah.
Dunaway is going to be AI memed a lot with that one if you just put that phrase out there. Look, the only instrument I went after was the flute, and only for men. So, and I'm tone deaf, so I have no ability to sing. I have no ability to play any instrument. So I am far from a musical genius, but yeah, that's been the result after the Auburn Tennessee game. A lot of people had me in Auburn cheerleading costumes playing the flute. So this has been I don't know when it's going to end, but I got to admit, a lot of them are very, very funny.
Dude, there's always random stuff with you in social media. Like last week, something popped up and you were talking about Barack Obama and Jennifer Aniston. Can you
it's a hot rumor, man.
Can you help me out with that?
So let's go back a couple of steps. Michelle Obama did not show up at the Jimmy Carter funeral, and she didn't show up at the inauguration. And a lot of people said, well, that's very interesting. Everybody else's spouse was there at the Jimmy Carter, former president spouses were there. I'm sure a lot of them were not gung-ho about it. Most of them were all at the inauguration. And the first thing that came out about the Jimmy Carter funeral was, well, Michelle Obama's on vacation in Hawaii. And I was like, man, that's like kind of just a jerk move, right? The former president doesn't die that often. Your husband's going to be there, as one would expect. And so I thought that was strange. And then she didn't show up for the inauguration, but then amidst all of this, and people are like, what's going on? Obama went out to eat by himself in his hometown. And I just before we go back to Obama, let me ask you guys this. How often in your hometown, like you guys are in Birmingham, would you be out at it? And I'm not talking about like you're busy and you run into Chick-fil-A to get like a fast food meal or something. I'm talking about like you go out for a nice steak dinner or a fancy restaurant in Birmingham and you go completely by yourself. Have you guys done that at any point in recent history?
Not a nice place. Like you said, fast food, maybe go to walk-ons.
I think Dunaway does it a lot, don't you?
Not a nice place.
When I'll go to walk-ons and sit at the bar.
Yeah, but you're watching a game.
But yeah, that's like watching a game. Yeah. I mean, like going to a sports bar or something to me is an exception, right?
Yeah.
But I can't. So anyway, and that says nothing of you're the former president of the United States. You have a security detail in the town that you live in, and you go out to a fancy dinner by yourself. And so I was on talking about it, just kind of breaking all that down. And everybody had said, oh, Michelle Obama hates Trump. She didn't want to be near him. And then the rumor comes out that maybe Barack Obama was having an affair with Jennifer Aniston, which they both deny. But then it actually makes a little bit more sense because maybe it's not Trump at all. Maybe Michelle Obama is mad at Barack Obama. And if that rumor were out there, would you go eat dinner by yourself? Like,
I'd probably go eat dinner with Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, with Jennifer Aniston. But I mean, usually, if the rumor is out there that you are, in a rough spot, usually if it's not true, the couple, makes a show of going out to dinner together, going on vacation together, or whatever else. So I don't know. It just seems super weird to me that the former president he lives in D.C. now, that he would go out to dinner by himself seems very, very odd.
So better chance Brian Schottenheimer ever wins a playoff game as the Dallas Cowboys head coach, or we actually see Obama and Aniston together at some point?
Oh, I mean, that would be. Can you imagine the scandal if Obama ended up divorced and with anybody? It would be a huge story. But much less one of the most famous actresses in Hollywood. I'll go Schottenheimer wins a playoff game. Although, and I'm probably going to talk about this some on the Outkick show later today. I mean, there's a lot of attention right now. What is it? 6, 7 different NFL teams are hiring new coaches. I just come back around again and again and again. your coach doesn't matter if you have a crappy quarterback. And, there's all this attention on who the coaches are. I mean, haven't we kind of ended this once and for all with Bill Belichick? And I know he's on the road now recruiting for UNC, and I'm super fascinated to see how he does in college football. But, back in the day, one of the top debates was who's more instrumental or integral to the Patriot dynasty, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick. And now that argument seems like laughably absurd, right? I mean, Belichick without Brady is a sub 500 NFL coach. With Brady, he's the greatest NFL coach of all time. Andy Reid is a really, really good coach. I think that you need at some point a high-level coach to have a dynasty combined with a great quarterback. But if you told me right now, hey, you can have Patrick Mahomes for the next decade, or you can take whoever you think the greatest coach is for the next decade, does anyone with a functional brain take the best NFL coach of their choice? I mean, this is just a quarterback-driven league, and if you got the greatest quarterback, you win, and if you don't, you probably stink. Sorry for bringing that up, Brown, because I know you guys are still looking for the next Dan Marino.
Oh, yes, it's been a long journey. It's the closest we've been, by the way, right now, so at least there's that. But it is amazing to me, Clay, like when the Cowboys job comes open, for some reason we treat it like on the collegiate level, the Ohio State job's open or the Bama job is open or something like that. And they just continue to hire bad coaches. Like, I mean, that is not a coveted job like you would think it would be in the NFL, regardless of where they are at quarterback. Like, they've had good quarterbacks, I guess. I don't know. But it's just not a coveted job like you would think a franchise like the Cowboys would be.
Well, first of all, the NFL head coaching job is infinitely easier than the college head coaching job. And I think the college head coach matters far more. But I also think Jerry Jones does press conferences after every game.
I know.
I mean, if you are a coach, I think Jerry Jones is a really good dude. Obviously, he's had tremendous success building and buying the Dallas Cowboy, right? He bought him for $120 million. They're probably worth $10 billion now. And that's a credit to what a great business person he has been. But he wants the limelight on him. And if he wants the limelight on him, the challenge that you run into associated with that is what kind of coach wants to be constantly looking over his shoulder to know what his owner says in the post-game press conference. I mean, does any other owner have a post-game press conference?
No, and that's why I used to. Game? Yeah, that's why I used to laugh when people are like, if Nick Saban is going to take an NFL job, it would be the Cowboys. I'm like, you really think he's going to take a job where the owner is giving a press conference? You're out of your mind. There's no way he would get in that situation.
If he did, I mean, it would be a function of Jerry Jones has completely decided that he is, going to step down
Correct.
And not be involved, right? But the bigger picture is, whoever you think is the greatest coach in the NFL right now, I don't think it would matter because I think Dak Prescott is around the 12th or 13th best quarterback in the NFL. Now, they benefit a bit because, and trust me, as a Titans fan, I think about this far too much. I mean, most of the incredibly talented young quarterbacks are on the AFC side of the ledger. In fact, all four of the top quarterbacks, in my opinion, in the NFL right now, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, and Joe Burrow are all young guys on the AFC side. Now, maybe Jaden Daniels is finally a young guy on the NFC side who's going to be really good. So the point I'm making with that is the Cowboys have a benefit that they don't have to get through all of that young AFC quarterback talent. So maybe they can win a couple of games one year in the playoff just because the NFC is comparatively very weak at the quarterback position. But the problem they have in general is, again, Dak is the 12th or 14th best quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. That's no huge shot on Dak Prescott. It's just there's a big drop-off from Patrick Mahomes to, 12 or 14.
We've always had at different points in time championship fatigue, whether it was the Yankees, Lakers, Alabama football. Are we seeing the most we've ever seen right now in this moment of time with the Chiefs, more so than we saw with the New England Patriots?
I think so. And we'll see. I mean, look, the Bills-Chiefs game to me, felt like the Super Bowl in that tons of people cared. It felt like Peyton Manning against Tom Brady to me, with the difference being that eventually Peyton Manning finally won, and we certainly have not seen Josh Allen win postseason. He's 0-4 now against Patrick Mahomes. But and I saw right before I was coming on with you reports that it may have been the highest, most watched AFC Championship game ever, which is saying something. Obviously, I think the number I saw was 57.4 million.
57.4, the most watched AFC, second most watched championship. 57.6, 2012 Giants 49ers. So almost the most watched championship game of all time.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of people that cared about that matchup. But for Patrick Mahomes, if he goes and wins a third title, I don't begrudge it. Like, look, credit to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he is the best quarterback, I think, in the NFL. But this is a rematch of 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. I'm going to watch because I watch every big football game. I'm not that excited about it. I don't find Philadelphia to be a particularly likable city or a particularly likable team. I don't know if you guys saw the meme where it's like who's rooting for which team. And it's like the tiny little dot of Philadelphia is rooting for the Eagles and the tiny little dot of Kansas City is rooting for the Chiefs. And then the rest of America, it's like asteroid.
Yeah, meteor strike or something like that.
Yeah, meteor strike, yeah. But I'll be curious because a lot of times when we say this, LT, the numbers reflect that people actually like having a foil, right? Like the New England Patriots back in the day, you either loved or hated the New England Patriots and Brady. And I think the same thing is becoming true of the Chiefs. I will say on the Chiefs front, I also think there's an element of just I think it ties in actually with the Patriots because we had one dynasty that dominated the NFL for so long, and I think a lot of fans out there were like, oh, finally, things are going to open up. Maybe we'll get to watch new teams and new players. And it's like we just went straight basically from the New England Patriot dynasty to the to the Chiefs dynasty. Guys, the Chiefs have been in 7 straight AFC championship games.
Insane.
Patrick Mahomes is going to his 5th Super Bowl. The only 2 times he hasn't been to the Super Bowl as a starter, they lost in overtime in the AFC championship games. I mean, I don't know truly that we've ever seen a run like this in the history of the NFL where basically it doesn't matter what happens, you just pencil the Chiefs in on one side of the AFC championship game.
I've texted it to you. I don't know if you have the technology to open up your text, but we've uncovered a photo of you that one summer you played in the band in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, that's a good look. I mean, I've accomplished a lot. I will say this about AI. It's not going to be long till one of the primary defenses in any criminal trial is that evidence is not real, it's AI.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if you'll notice,
seriously,
if you'll notice, you've got 3 hands on that flute.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Yeah, that one. Sometimes there's too many fingers or too many hands. The AI is not perfect, but look at that stuff now. Like the one of me making out. Did you see the one of me making out with Selena Gomez while playing the flute?
I did not. That's talented.
Tough.
That's talented right there.
Yeah, that's actually a video. But I'm watching it and I was kind of laughing about it. But I'm not kidding. Like we are very close to defense attorneys in major crime cases when the evidence is trying to be introduced or the jury is analyzing it. Somebody we're going to all be the Shaggy, right? Like, remember the song, It Wasn't Me?
It wasn't me.
Like, everybody is going to be like, that wasn't me. That's AI. Yeah. Like, I think it's going to be increasingly difficult to trust images and videos in the years ahead. Because people are just going to say, if they don't want it to be true, hey, it's AI.
Before you go, we've got a mutual friend that is a Tennessee fan. Prior to the Auburn-Tennessee game, I saw him at lunch Friday. I asked him how he felt, and he spent most of his time complaining about Rick Barnes. He's like, look, guy's a Hall of Fame coach. I like what he does, but our guys regress under him. They don't improve offensively. Where are you on your guy, Rick Barnes?
I mean, he's got the second most wins in college basketball. I think that's a crazy take.
Okay.
Look, Tennessee, I think, is good enough to win the national championship this year. I think they were good enough to win the national championship, a few of the last 5 or 6 years They've been a 2 seed several times. They've won multiple SEC championships with Rick Barnes. I don't know what the ceiling of this team is, but they were good. I don't know. Well, we'll see. I don't know that anybody's going to play a closer game against Auburn at Auburn all year in the SEC than what we saw on Saturday night. I mean, you can argue that Tennessee should have won that game. I think they were up 4 with like a minute and a half to go. Credit to Auburn for making a big shot. But you can argue that Tennessee, maybe even should have won that game. We'll see. Tonight is Kentucky, I believe, in Knoxville. Before the season started, look, the SEC is better than it's ever been.
By the way, Tennessee a 10-point favorite tonight, which 10 with Tennessee in that style of play, that's like 15 or 20.
Yeah, look, I mean, I also, what was the final line against Auburn? 6.5. I mean, if Johnny Broome doesn't come and play, I think Tennessee would have won that game maybe comfortably because Broome, I know he's not back to 100%. He played very well. He had 16 and 11 for Auburn in a game where they only scored 53 or whatever the heck the final was there. I think I said before the season, as we got ready for SEC play, that I thought Tennessee would go around 12-6 and in the SEC. And if they do that, and I'd still say I think there's a decent chance that's about what they end up, they're going to be a 1 or a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. And then, frankly, it's going to come down to what NCAA tournament matchups come down to. Is your team the team that's going to shoot better, when you get into those Sweet 16, Elite 8 style games? How do you shoot from 3? And if you lose in the second round, it's going to be because suddenly you come out and you shoot 2 for 20 from 3. And I don't think it's going to be because Tennessee's not prepared. I think Rick Barnes will pass. I mean, you look at what Coach Cal's got going on at Arkansas right now. At some point this season, Rick Barnes is going to pass Coach Cal and have the most wins in college basketball. And I think he's still got 4 or 5 years left. I think he's at 830-ish, 830 career wins. And he may make a run at 1,000 before all is said and done. And, he's got things going pretty well in Knoxville. And so I think it's hard to complain about Rick Barnes.
All right, you see him on Fox and on Outkick. Clay Travis on social media. Thank you, Clay. Have a great week.
Hey, appreciate y'all. Thanks a lot.
All right, buddy. We'll see you, Clay, with us on the Johnston RVCenter.com hotline. Real quick, as his colleague Bobby Brack points out, the President Trump-President Biden debate, which will go down as the most consequential presidential debate in the history of our country, had 51 million viewers. The AFC Championship game, 57 million. I'm not sure what that says about our country, but the numbers are the numbers.
Well, I guess both were entertaining in some
debates used to draw a lot more than 57 million.
Debates did?
Yeah. By a lot more.
Really?
Yeah. Because it was on all 3 networks and over-the-air networks, and
I think
there was no cable and everything.
I think the Kennedy-Nixon might have been the most watched one of all time.
I don't know, but this one was not the most watched debate of all time.
Yeah. But it's the most consequential, probably, so when you look back on that.
NFC-AFC title game in 2012 was 57.6 million. The AFC record before this was Chiefs and Ravens last year. 57.4 million viewers on CBS for this past week's game between the Bills and the Chiefs. That television number brought to you by our friends at Odie's. Tell us about Odie's.
Great place to just go for a lunch or dinner. Of course, every Wednesday night, me and Brown will be there for Odie's Team Trivia. That's at the original location in Crestline. From the award-winning wings, delicious burgers, fantastic sandwiches, great chili as well. Stop into one of the 2 locations, the original in Crestline, newest location in Edgewood. Go see Will Haver and that great staff. Birmingham Institution, Odie's Tavern.
We'll do 4 downs in the next segment. NFL in the last full year, 2023, their revenue was $18 billion. $18 billion in 1 year. What major sports in America is second, and where do you think they are in billions? Numbers came out yesterday for this sport, the last full year
it is professional, though, right?
Yeah, this is only the NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL.
Because college would be hard to calculate that number. I don't know how you calculate that
I would
number.
say it's Major League Baseball now. I would think it is surpassed basketball again.
It is Major League Baseball. Where is that number?
And what did you say the number was? 18 million?
18 billion?
18 billion.
Is the NFL.
I would say that number is This is going to be crazy, $1 billion.
Yeah, this is what's crazy. It's $12 billion.
Oh,
Major
wow.
League Baseball's revenue, $12 billion, up 33%.
That's shocking, actually.
From the year before. It's been on a steady growth since 2017. $12 billion in revenue, and this does not count regional sports networks.
Well, I was going to ask how much of this is television of the $12 billion.
It's part of the national package that you get, but none of it is regional sports networks where the Dodgers and Yankees pull in a ton of money. It doesn't count the Braves' ownership of the Battery around the stadium. Anything outside of Major League Baseball, the franchise itself, it doesn't count those numbers. So $12 billion.
So what are the numbers that aren't being counted in the NFL? If that number is $18 billion.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. They don't have a regional.
Because I wouldn't think those two would be close, would you guys?
Yeah,
No.
$6 billion isn't close, but it is. That's a lot more than I thought it was. The NBA is at $11.3 billion. And the NHL is at $6.3 billion in revenue. That is,
I just wonder how they're inflating these numbers.
Or any of
because
this.
NBA seems like that product has gone down so much.
But you would think MLB would look at the NFL, and I know why the owners don't do it, but they would say if we adopted that model, we'd be a lot better off. But the reason they don't do it is because the Dodgers couldn't just do what the Dodgers are doing, where basically their owner is like, we'll
spend whatever we want to spend.
We'll spend whatever we want to spend, and we'll pay the bill whenever the bill hits the table. You can't do that in the NFL.
David Rubenstein of the Orioles, the new owner of the Orioles, whose net worth is $4.1 billion, wants the salary cap in Major League Baseball like they have in the NFL. It'd be hard to put that toothpaste back into the tube there. But it's going to be hard to get the players to say, you want a salary cap? You just made $12 billion in revenue. But to Brown's point, the NFL, $18 billion in revenue with a salary cap.
That's right.
$12 billion in revenue without a salary cap.
I think the salary cap is one reason you make the revenue, though, and not just not just that you know what your expenditure is going to be, but it creates parity, which is one reason people tune in to watch the NFL. I say that as we're just talking about a team that has now played in 7 consecutive AFC Championship games. It doesn't sound like there's a lot of parity in the league, does it?
But it's hard for the Pirates. Fans to get fired up. They're a great fan base, but when is the Reds going to be relevant again? Can the Pirates ever win a World Series? It doesn't seem like it.
But
in this model.
Buffalo would be a small market major league team that's barely competitive, probably.
That's right.
But in the NFL model, they're playing for the AFC Championship.
Now, I say this.
Green Bay
has no money, and this is the first year we've missed the playoffs, I think, in 5 years. So there's ways to do it, but it does seem like there is a gulf becoming more and more in Major League Baseball, where in the NFL it's the most competitive model you have out there, and it helps in the television ratings. I just thought those was a surprising number. I would have never guessed $12 billion. I'm like you, LT. $18 billion didn't surprise me with the NFL, but I would have put nobody else probably over $5 billion.
Yeah, those numbers seem crazy.
Yeah, and it's on a steady rise since 2017, which is surprising as well. All right, when we come back, LT's got 4 downs for us and a lot more here on the show. That's always brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Our friends at Adams Beverage, all their great products. I enjoy the Michelob Ultra, the Stellas, and so much great IPA choices with Adams Beverage. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We're back in a moment.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
There's no off-season at covercrimson.com. Sign up now and get daily shows plus behind-the-scenes intel that will keep your Alabama fandom rolling all the way up until kickoff. Follow Cover Crimson on all social platforms and sign up today at covercrimson.com.
As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
We now bounce on Four Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice Every Day. It's a great place to go for lunch. Man, I tell you, I keep talking about getting pizza. I've got to do that this week. I'm craving a little pizza.
Let's go at lunch.
And we'll go get some Slice there. I got a little golf today. I'm going to get out.
You're not playing in this.
Pizza party here at the office.
Yeah, pizza party.
Yeah, but I'll be glad to get some pizza tomorrow.
It's cold and rainy. How are you playing in this? The British Open.
Yeah, they don't give away the claret jug. You got to earn it.
I'm going to go out there and knock it around today.
Is somebody else playing?
I got a full foursome, man. Yep. Basically sliced pizza, though. It's really warm and good stuff.
Yeah, 5 locations. The original Lakeview Vestavia Montevallo Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood. Local pizza, local ingredients from the soul pie to the hot mama, the wing and a prayer, the spicy Hawaiian. I mean, you can check out the entire menu right now. Go to slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
What happens first? Dan Hurley back to the Final Four, or Hugh Freeze wins 10 games at Auburn?
I'll probably go. This does not feel like a UConn Final Four team.
It does not.
By any stretch of the imagination.
But I just told you got 3 McDonald All-Americans coming in next year.
I don't think he's going to be down long. But Hugh will have a head start because he'll get this year to do it, to get to 10 wins.
He's got to get to 10 wins this year.
I don't know. I think I'll probably go Hugh Freeze to 10. Do I get the bowl game?
You get the bowl game.
Yeah, I'll go Hugh Freeze 10 wins first. But boy,
I think I will too.
I would not want to bet against Hurley missing the Final Four like 2 or 3 consecutive years if it takes that long.
I'll go Hurley back in the Final Four next year.
And Freeze doesn't get it this year?
And Freeze doesn't get it this year.
Okay. It's a tough one.
Technically, he could get it next year before Hurley gets his chance in March. But I'll go Hurley.
Second down.
Much to the delight of Auburn fans.
Yes.
Who coaches for conference championship first? Bill Belichick in the ACC or Kalen DeBoer in the SEC?
Kalen DeBoer in the SEC. I mean, I don't think Belichick will ever make a conference championship game in the ACC.
I don't know. The ACC's just been so weird.
Well, Clemson's going to be one of the best teams in the country next year.
But I'm just saying, SMU ran the table in year one and were there. Pittsburgh won it just 3 years ago.
Miami's going to be one of the best teams in the country next year.
Cristobal's still coaching, though, right?
He is.
I just don't. It's not going to shock me if Bill Belichick is not the coach there a second year. I will be fair, like I said about Deion Sanders, who's coming back for his third year, one more year than I thought he's going to be.
Never thought he'd be there 3 years. Nope.
I'll be the same about Belichick. I just don't know how interested he's going to be in this now that he does it.
And the thing we didn't know about Deion, which is Belichick's buyout drops to $1 million this spring. I think it's in June that it drops to $1 million.
Yep.
So he coaches 1 year. It's $1 million buyout. If he wants to jump back to the NFL, there is no buyout that is tethering him to Chapel Hill.
Or just say, I'm going to walk away and here's my son.
So do you guys think it's going to be a disaster with Belichick? See, I would have said that with Mac Brown on the recycle, Mac Brown Part 2 when he came back to Chapel Hill. I thought that was going to be a disaster, and it was
okay.
decent.
It was okay.
Yeah. I think they'll win 7 or 8 games this year.
Yeah,
I don't think he's there for year 2.
I think Belichick might, if he stays there any extended time, he might touch 10 wins once, but I don't think he'll make a conference championship game.
Third down.
January 28th is National Blueberry Pancake Day. Best way to prepare pancakes?
That's probably it right there, blueberry. I'm not a big pancake guy. I can't just eat plain pancakes. I need to have some flavoring in them, but blueberry with blueberry syrup. I actually add the blueberry syrup on top.
No. Pancakes natural with syrup is the way to go. I prefer waffles over pancake.
Yep.
I think we all do.
If I want to add anything to it, I can't stand compote. It should be banned from all restaurants in the world, but I'm in favor of freedom. So if you like compote, then you should be allowed to have it. But if I'm going to add fruit, I do it on top of my pancakes. I don't like anything cooked into the pancake.
Yeah, I like the blueberry is good. Banana's good though.
Yeah, I like
some Bananas Foster pancakes.
That's pretty good right there.
But I don't put the banana in it. I add bananas on top of it. I add blueberries on top of it.
Well, I mean, it seems like the easier way to do it. It seems like a pain in the ass. I always go back to the movie Casino where Robert De Niro's character told the head chef, I want the same amount of blueberries in every muffin.
Oh, wow. That is a lot to ask for.
That's a lot of pressure, by the way.
Dunaway knows this because he and I many times have been to Waffle House next to the Floribama. I go blueberry waffles at the Waffle House. I like blueberry waffle, blueberry pancake.
I'm surprised they actually do that because
100%.
Most of their stuff is made right there fresh, right?
Yeah, these blueberries are not fresh at the Waffle House.
Wouldn't think so.
Jim, I didn't know that.
It's a powdered, dry blueberry flavor, and I think it hurts the product.
I like it better that way.
Sometimes I go pecan waffle there at Waffle House.
At Waffle House?
Yeah.
What, so they just put a pecan flavoring in it?
No, there's chopped up pecans in there.
Because normally, there's a pecan syrup that you can use.
Can't stand that either.
Oof. Yeah.
Have you guys ever done stuffed pancakes?
At Waffle House?
I have.
There's a Cracker Barrel.
That's not gluttonous at all, is it?
It
stuffed
is,
pancake.
No, I've had stuffed pancakes with like a
basically a crepe, right?
It's like a custard or something. That's in
it's
it.
like a cheesecake filling inside the pancake.
God, that sounds like you would weigh 1,000 pounds when you're done with it.
Yep.
That's the point, huh? I guess.
Fourth down.
You have to live in one town you've never visited. Is there something that resonates with you?
So I'm just selecting a town I've never visited, and I'm going to live there the rest of my life.
You are right now witness protection.
Probably.
And they're like, you can go anywhere that you've never been before.
Probably San Diego. I've never visited San Diego. They say the weather's incredible year-round. There's golf there.
Problem is you got to live in California, though.
I do, but I mean...
I've heard San Diego's awesome. I've never been to San Diego.
I've visited a lot of places around here, though, and there's a lot now. If you say you visited and you could live there, I'd pick. But I mean, it's completely random to make me pick a place I've never visited even.
I'm going to be in Maine. I'll say Auburn, Maine.
Is that even on the water? Would you not want to be on the water in Maine?
I thought it was on the water.
Why did you pick Maine?
Wherever my buddy Ted McInerney lives, it's got a coastline. It's a nice metropolitan city. He lives in the
Tornado
suburbs
Ted's
there.
got no tornadoes up
I
there.
know. What's he do up there year round?
Has some snowfall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, blizzard.
They have some snowfall.
I bet.
But I'd want to live in Maine.
I think I would go Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Never been there.
Never been, yeah.
Heard it's awesome.
Yep.
That'd be cold.
I am, Dunaway, I'm actually going to Maine this summer.
Yep.
I always wanted to go, so I'll let you know how. I'll see if we could check out Auburn.
Do you have, the itinerary already planned?
I do. Have you met my wife? Yeah. We do have the itinerary.
Whole
already
family
planned.
going?
No, just me and Jennifer. It's an anniversary trip.
The only thing I've heard about Maine, it's really nice, but wherever you go in Maine, it's a pain in the ass to get there.
Yeah, we're gonna have a car. We've got a little, start in Boston and drive up into Maine.
Vineyard.
Yeah. Hit the sites.
And that's 4 Downs today, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, 5 great locations created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His brothers Jason and Chris continue to celebrate that legacy. Stop in for lunch or dinner to view the menu and more information. SliceBirmingham.com.
By the way, we have the new bracketology from Joe Lunardi's out. Auburn, of course, still the number 1 overall team. Duke is the number 2 overall team, the 1 seed. Alabama, still a 1 seed. They're now the number 3 overall number 1 seed, and Iowa State is the number 4 overall number 1 seed.
So there was some comment about this. Let me see if I can pull it back up. That's Landmine Believer in the chat room. He says the same thing, that when new bracketology is out, it's where the net is flawed. Auburn has 4 Q1 wins in the last 4 in / first 4 out. Do you have those in front of you?
Auburn has what now?
He says Auburn has 4 Q1 wins in last 4 in / first 4 out.
They have the last 4 byes are Oklahoma, Georgia, San Diego State, Pittsburgh. Last 4 in, Ohio State, Auburn, Texas, Auburn on the road, North Carolina, which is both Auburn and Alabama.
Yep. See, there's his point.
First 4 out. Xavier, Indiana, Arizona State, SMU. I don't know any. None of that is Auburn, I don't think.
But his point is, those are quad 1 wins, which are supposed to be very, very helpful to you getting a 1 seed. Those teams may not even make the tournament, according to Joe Lunardi. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, quad 1 wins. Auburn is 11-1 right now. They're trying to set the record for quad 1 wins. They're 11-1 right now. The record was actually UConn last year with 18 quad 1 wins. 18-3 is where UConn ended up with the quad 1s. Auburn's 11-1, but that's a moving target. Some can end up not being a quad 1 win. Some that could end up being
so
quad
does
1
that,
wins.
Is that included in the postseason too? SEC tournament to NCAA tournament? It has to be with UConn. I mean, I know the Big East is good, but 18 is a lot.
I don't think it includes the NCAA tournament.
Because I don't know if they keep updating the net during the tournament, which you wouldn't likely fall that much, obviously.
So they were what last year?
18-3.
So 21 of their regular season games.
Well, and the conference tournament.
Yeah,
would count that. Everything before Selection Sunday. But they were 18-3 in quad 1. That is the record, and it was set last year. Houston has the second most set last year. All these are major recent records because quad 1 is sort of a new thing
That's
to keep
true.
a record of. Alabama's best year was 2023 when they had 13 quad 1 wins.
Now, they're not going to get there this year. Well, I say that. I mean, it's a bunch of quad 1 games, but they're at 5-3 right now. I mean, there's potentially 8 more quad 1s out if we go count.
Yeah, so the quad 1's a moving target. What is could not be, and what was maybe, or what wasn't maybe, and what is could not be.
Very deep
when it's all said and done. But anyway, on the bracketology there from Joe Lunardi, those are your top 4 teams on the 2 line. When you get to the NCAA tournament, Tennessee is still there. Florida is still there on the 2 line. On the 3 line, Kentucky is still there for the moment. And on the 4 line, wait for it, Texas A&M and Mississippi State are there. So if you're scoring at home, 7 of the top 16 teams in the country, according to Lunardi, are right there in the top 16. 7 of the 16. 13 teams in the SEC in the bracketology in the tournament right now.
13.
13.
11 is the record.
11 is the record.
So they clear that by 2.
13 is in. Oklahoma and Georgia right now with byes. And Georgia, I think, is 2-4 in the league.
With buys, you're saying they don't have to go to Dayton.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
they're not the
in
last
without
four.
going to Dayton.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
another group of teams that are last four in.
Yeah.
Georgia and Oklahoma are bad in the SEC standings, and right now still have a bye according to Lenardi in the NCAA tournament.
I mean, I'm just an idiot, but when you watch those two, I feel like Georgia's a tournament team. I don't feel like Oklahoma is. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, obviously I'm wrong. Joe Lenardi's saying they are, but
and he's got Texas in too.
Texas is in as the last four in, and there's no SEC team that is the first four out or the next four out. So all in on the 13, and then the other three you're not in, and that includes now Vandy, who's comfortably in the tournament.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Vandy should be comfortably in the tournament. Heck, they're in the top 25 right now. When you watch Vandy, that looks like a tournament team.
Yep.
I mean, that's a team that has, especially at home, you don't get to play the tournament at home, but especially at home has been good.
Well, they need that tournament money.
Yeah, they do need it. They got to pay those fines, don't they?
Yeah, so that's the latest bracketology from Joe Lenardi there. The show brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. When LT is done telling us about his eyesight, we're going to talk about Dan Hurley and the way he sees him.
205-969-8100. That is the number you need to call. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation, 0 to lose, to find out if LASIK is right for you. I got the procedure done over 2 decades ago. I still have 2015 vision, better than 2020. Dr. Mark Michelson, the first to perform the LASIK procedure in the state of Alabama back in 1995. True pioneer in the business. Him and his daughter, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
All right, so you think Dan Hurley is the most hated American coach right now? Disliked?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the overall sports fan, like, people that watch basically everything, I think Dan Hurley is probably that guy. I think Nick Sirianni's right up there.
So Nick
if Sirianni was the head coach of the Chiefs, Andy Reid, outside of those goofy State Farm commercials,
I think he's very well liked.
Yeah, I think he is too.
That's the thing, is that everybody loves to hate Kansas City, but they don't hate their coach.
Yeah, I think that shows you something, that he is a likable guy.
I think people generally like Andy Reid. Their dislike started with Kelsey and has now become Mahomes.
Right.
Too.
Wouldn't you say that there's more
I think
dislike?
It started with Mahomes and then became Kelsey.
Oh, I think it was
Taylor
Kelsey.
Swift thing.
And then Mahomes got bigger.
The Mahomes and the Brittany Mahomes thing, and Mahomes' brother.
Yeah,
Before Travis Kelsey was the icon he is, people hated Mahomes first.
Yeah, but even pre-Taylor Swift, just Kelsey barking all the time. I remember when the rematch against Joe Burrow, and just all of the stuff that he was talking. I don't know. I mean, one or the other, but I do agree. But would you say that Andy Reid would be more disliked for the State Farm commercial than being the head coach of the Chiefs?
They're weird commercials. What's the one where he does the
chicken nuggies and the
nuggies,
whatever, the fumble rooski?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the one. Fumble rooski or whatever it is.
I can't believe he agreed to do that.
I really can't either. No telling what they're paying him.
Yeah, you would do it too for the money.
Well, I would,
for that kind of money,
I mean,
of
I
course.
need the money. I don't think Andy Reid needs the money.
So Nick Saban at one point was the guy, you think? Yes. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Nick, there's no doubt. I mean, just based on success.
So now Dan Hurley, you think Sirianni?
Well, I don't think Hurley does himself any favors by, the comment last week. And I guess you guys probably talked about it because I was out last Wednesday.
Oh, we did do it. I'm the best blinking coach in America. And then when he's asked about it, he didn't no, I didn't say that. He's
They debated that for what seemed way too long on College Game Day. It's only a 1-hour show, and it's in Auburn. And I bet the discussion between the panelists went on for 10 minutes, which in TV time is a lot.
So I didn't see it. What were they discussing?
Dan Hurley's, whether it's unbecoming, his attitude of berating officials, and does it give him a competitive advantage, the way he berates official. And it seems like
because they're talking about the officials get intimidated.
Yeah, and it felt like Jay Billis, and it seemed like everybody was sort of anti-Hurley in the conversation, except for, is it Greenberg? Is that his name?
Seth Greenberg.
Seth Greenberg, who was like, you just got to be your personality. And Jay was like, I agree, but it does give him a competitive advantage. But I played for Coach K, and then, Seth says, oh, you don't think Coach K worked the officials?
Oh, God, yes,
and,
he did.
We did it differently. The Jay Williams, the debate was there, and how differently.
Yeah, I think everybody does it. It's just your tact. And I think just Hurley commanding the attention upon himself and saying it straight up that he's the best coach out there.
Yeah, I mean, Hurley is very demonstrative. I mean, Coach K would argue a missed call, and I'm sure the stuff he said that you couldn't hear is probably just as bad as what Hurley says. But Hurley does it with his hands in the air and stuff.
Yeah, it's more Bob Knight, but not to the point of Bob
Knight. He hasn't thrown a chair yet.
But do you think Bob Knight got the rating of the officials?
Oh, I think he intimidated, yeah. But Bob Knight was a big dude. Like, I don't know how big Hurley is.
You think Wimp got some calls because of the way he worked the officials?
Yeah, probably. So, I think Wimp told us once he didn't get very many technicals, which I think I remember surprising me.
One technical,
maybe one toss. I think he got tossed once, which surprised me a little bit.
They used to let it be part of the show.
Yeah, it was one double technical.
Yeah, but I do agree with what Stephen Pearl said with us earlier. Rick Barnes threw that water bottle against the bottom of the scores table.
Should have been an instant technical because you had to stop play.
But in that game, I'm okay with them not doing it. That is a highly pressurized game. It's a tight game. I mean, I guarantee you Bruce Pearl is saying to himself, as long as they'll let me have some leash, I'm fine with them not calling a tech.
Yeah, but there's difference between having leash and you just not being a wuss of an official and let them dog cuss you the whole game, which should be fine. But when you stop the game by throwing the water bottle down and you have to stop play to clean it up, then that's got to be a technical foul.
I don't know
if
I don't know if they knew he threw it. That
was the thing. It could have been a guy that kicked it over on the bench,
or he just spilled it trying to open it. I don't know that they ever saw him throw it.
I think if they would have seen him throw it and then they had to stop the game, and in social media you saw all the clips and it was easy to identify that he was the one that did it. But if they didn't see it, then that's probably the reason.
I would tell you that during a timeout, about midway through the first half, and I made an incorrect prediction. But there were some calls not going Alabama's way, as in every basketball game, right? Fans think the calls aren't going their way. The baseball team comes out in Tuscaloosa during one of the timeouts, and they throw these miniature sponge baseballs into the stands.
Okay.
Probably 100 of them into the student section, into the normal stands. And I looked at everybody on press row, and I said, there will be a technical foul in this game because there will be a bad call at some point. And 1, 2, or 8 of those are going to come right back on the court.
Yeah, you were just arming the fans.
You just armed the fans with a sponge ball that they could throw and it not be a crazy, not something that would harm anybody, and it's going to come back. If you're old enough, you remember, I think it was in the 80s, where it may have been a tennis promotion or Watts, but at Florida, they threw tennis balls.
At Dwayne Shensis.
At Shensis,
yeah. That was it. Was it at Vanderbilt when Florida was playing at Vanderbilt? I think maybe.
Some tennis balls came down out of the student section.
Yeah,
it's an instant technical because we had to stop play.
Yeah,
and if it had happened in Tuscaloosa the other night, it would have been an instant technical. My God, we review everything. If there's water spilt over there, I'd have gone and looked at it at the monitor, and I would have teed him up. And I'm sorry if it was at a crucial part of the game. If you throw a water bottle, and if you're just arguing with me, if you're 1 foot out of the box, I'm not going to do anything. But if you throw a water bottle, it's bad enough. If you throw a water bottle that spills onto the court and I've got to stop play, that's got to be teed up.
Natural reaction is to put the top back on, right?
It is. Well, I think he had. It exploded.
Yeah.
But
it's got to be teed up.
All right. I had 2 games going, so I was back and forth. I saw it happen. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was doing it because he was pissed at his team for turning the ball over. It wasn't about a call, I don't think.
I was worse. I was watching it on press row while watching Mark Sears sit in the second half. In Tuscaloosa.
But I think he was pissed at a turnover. I don't think it was a bad call. So there's probably some leeway there too. Like I think it was just an out of bounds. I think they had turned it over off an inbound play or something like that.
I think you're right.
So I don't think
I think if it would have been one of the officials, it would have been more magnified.
I don't think he was protesting a bad call, like a blocked charge, and he throws it against the table. That's probably an automatic tee.
I'm sorry. If your anger, if your emotions can't be controlled enough, and I know he's a great, nice guy, but you stopped the play because you have spilt water by slinging the bottle. It wasn't like he knocked it off, trying to pick it up and dropped it off the table. He angrily slammed it to the ground. That's got to be a technical foul. Got to be.
And speaking of basketball coaches, I think Popovich was one of those hated guys for a long time. San Antonio.
I disagree. I thought he was fantastic.
You might have. I mean, I think a lot of people, just because crusty guy.
He became hated when he started talking about politics.
Well, and I know there's certain people that agree with his politics, like Kerr's politics. But I think because they became so identified, they were winning championships, but they were also very political. I think those guys were very disliked.
But before the politics, do you think he was the most hated coach
in the NBA? Yes.
See, I never got that.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that from Kerr either.
Well,
And
Popovich is just a crusty old dick. He is.
He does the one-answer interviews, which those interviews are useless anyway, but I think a lot of people associate that with him just being a jerk. I think it's just kind of a little shtick he does.
And he's not funny.
Yeah, he's doing it with the sideline reporter. They know what he's doing.
But I think over the last decade, I think Saban would be your number one guy on the list.
I think so too, mainly because he was winning.
Yep, no doubt.
Hurley is winning and is demonstrative. Belichick would have been in that conversation at one point in the NFL.
Yeah, and I think more for Hurley, it's more the ego. See, I always thought that there was a massive ego on Popovich. I don't know if I'm sure Saban obviously has an ego, but I don't think it was more ego. I think it was just the way he carried himself and the fact that he was winning nonstop.
New York Butcher Shop brings us the show. One more hour still to go. A lot to get to, including one discussion from a popular basketball podcast where they were talking about, is Auburn regressing at this point in the season? We'll answer that question and debate that a little bit, and a lot of other stuff to get to. New York Butcher Shop has a lot of stuff for you for dinner or great takeouts from their store there.
Yeah, stop and see Jim and the great staff. Both locations, the original Cava Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. Rear quality, well-done service. One-stop dinner shop. You can pick up the fresh meat, specialty items, the fantastic selection of fine wines and desserts. Again, 2 locations for you. Stop in. It's the New York Butcher Shop.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the BJCC. With customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall. Sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only, meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday, it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday, meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Got to head down to Mobile here and talk a little Senior Bowl NFL draft and a lot more NFL football and college football in this final hour of the show. Stephen Pearl with us earlier, podcasted wherever you get the next round, including some interviews and clips there at YouTube. If you want to go check that out for us today, remember to like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up as you watch us. LTD&B with you. This hour brought to you by Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. That's Sterling right there with that good-looking young guy beside him. Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken at Highway 119 in Alabaster. There for over a decade. Why do people keep going back to Champy's? Because the food consistently A+. It is brined overnight. Cooked to order, comes out piping hot fried chicken. I'm a big two-breast guy with all the great country sides that you get there. Tyler's right about a lot of things, but especially the beans you get there, the baked beans, so good to go with that fried chicken. They are seasoned perfectly. Hand-cut chicken fingers, underrated wings there. Nothing underrated about the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It is Champy's Chicken, champyschicken.com. Dylan Gabriel, one of the quarterbacks down at the Senior Bowl, and he played a lot of football in a lot of places, and he has a specifically designed helmet that he will wear this weekend for the Senior Bowl game. He's not wearing it at practice today, but for the helmet this weekend, he's got it's one of his Oregon helmets, it looks like, the black mat. If you're listening to us, so you see it on the screen there. Oregon, the winged silver on one side, the interlocking AU on the other side, and then his original location, the Knight Spear down the middle for the stripe with UCF on the back of the helmet, paying tribute to all three of his programs.
Nothing tells the story of today's college football more than that helmet.
Well, in different moments, he was outstanding at all three programs.
Yeah,
he really was.
A guy that's good enough to be a Heisman finalist and playing the Senior Bowl as an NFL draftable quarterback, yet also has three major school logos he can wear on his helmet. That tells you everything you need to know about college football.
I don't think he's at the Senior Bowl, but the fastest rising guy on the board for the NFL draft is Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter. He has now gone from plus 1,000 to plus 200 to be the first overall pick in the NFL draft.
Earlier today, I just saw DJ, our guy Daniel Jeremiah, on the NFL Network from Mobile. He released his top 50 today, his most updated top 50, and Abdul Carter's his number one.
Yeah.
He's got him in front of Shador.
I've seen Carter. I've seen
in front
Travis
of Travis
Hunter.
In front of Travis.
Yeah, and I mean, this is going to be fascinating with the quarterbacks, and teams always reach, but, I saw a top 50 big board just about an hour ago, and there was only one Bama player on it, which was interesting in itself, but at number 44 was their second quarterback, Shador Sanders.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
DJ had Shador a little bit higher, and DJ
he had
him
going number 6 to the Raiders.
Yeah, but I think in his big board, he's got him in the teens.
Yeah, it's good to explain big board is not a projected draft.
It's your 50, top 50 available.
Yeah,
that's right.
Top 50, just explaining it for the audience. I know you knew.
No, but I mean, that shows you that teams reach, because there's no way Sanders is going to fall out of the top 10. So if some people have him on the back end of 50, it shows you.
That's right.
In the NFL, you're always going to probably.
You're always going to overdraft quarterback.
Yeah, you are.
And it also, if you've got a quarterback, it shows you the value you get in the player, because people are overreaching quarterback. That means those top players are dropping down to you. If you've got your quarterback, You get a quality pick there in the first round.
The new general manager, and I cannot remember his name, and I apologize for this, from the Titans that just came from Kansas City, said we would not pass on a generational talent. And most thought he was talking about Travis Hunter there. Is Abdul Carter a generational talent to you?
I would tell you Lawrence Taylor was. He came off the edge.
There's no doubt he was.
And I would say this, bring it back to the Rams. Jared Verse, as good as he was for Florida State last year, I didn't know. I thought Verse was going to be really good. I didn't realize he would be this dominant this quick. And Abdul Carter, if you see an edge guy that you believe can come in and pressure the quarterback like you saw a Verse in year one.
I think now if I had a generational quarterback, that's who I want, obviously. And any NFL team is going to take that, especially the Titans, who are in such a bad situation at quarterback. But if you ask me, you've got a generational pass rusher or a generational corner, I'll take the pass rusher every time.
Oh, I would too.
Because it makes your corners better because
That's right.
limited time for the quarterback to be back
well,
there.
and you can affect really every passing down.
Yeah. And if he plays the run too, now he's affecting every down.
Yeah, your one corner solves one portion of the field. Abdul Carter, if he meets Jared Verse, makes every one of your DBs better.
Yeah. I saw something about Chris Jones, the former Mississippi State defensive lineman that is now playing for Kansas City, who may be, you could argue, best defensive lineman in the game right now.
Yep.
And he's given the freedom by Spagnuolo, who is so good at what he does. His blitzes, the way he times out blitzes, that last play against Josh Allen. But he's given
by the way, the more I've seen it, Kincaid, and I know they came out to – he actually did have the angle you were talking about. It wasn't going straight on. He was going a little bit to the right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't tipped. Like how he didn't catch that, it's pretty amazing.
When you watch it, it ends up going like through both arms, right?
Yeah,
he's trying to cradle it.
I would assume that he was just as surprised as we were that Josh Allen was able to get rid of that
Probably so. But Chris Jones is given the liberty to line up like wherever he wants, basically. They basically say, where do you want to come from?
Yeah, he's not worried about a run gap.
That's right. And I don't have the stats in front of me. I should have kept this tweet, but it was giving the percentage. The vast majority of the time, he picks the team's best offensive lineman, which is wild to think about, isn't it?
Yeah. But if I can beat their best, that means my other guy has a better chance of beating their weaker one. And boom, we're connected.
Yeah, and he's never picking like the weak link. They said the percentages of his snaps, the vast majority of those are over what is considered to be the team's best tackle.
It's brilliant if you're really good at it.
You guys brought up last week or 2 weeks ago, Riley Leonard, could this be one of the worst playoff quarterbacks to ever win a championship? If, in fact, they win the championship, they didn't. But Jalen Hurts has got to be in the mix on, like, I'm not going to say that he's Trent Dilfer. I'm not going to say he's Brad Johnson. But when we talk about just elite quarterbacks that now play in this league, from Josh Allen to Pat Mahomes, to Joe Burrow, Hurts doesn't scratch the surface of those guys.
He doesn't. If they win this game, it'll be because of Saquon Barkley, the receivers, the defense. That offensive line isn't healthy, but it's usually pretty good too.
Philadelphia, it's their best unit.
Yeah, I think that shows it is. And I think that shows you how great this roster is around a really solid, talented quarterback, but not a great quarterback.
Yeah, Brock Purdy, same way the 49ers got there. It was the other parts.
Nick Foles.
He'll be if they can win, he'll be far from the worst quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, I think. He's not going to be that bad. But he's also a pretty good gap from the best quarterbacks to have won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I think that speaks of that roster.
What are we, Super Bowl 59, right?
Yep.
So I think he would be in the bottom 20 for sure.
Maybe so, but he's a long way from number 59 was my point.
Yeah, but that doesn't shock me that he'd be in the bottom 20 because you probably don't even have him in the top 10 of the guys playing the position right now.
Well, I think that's what's surprising because, when we talk about teams always reaching for quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts just kind of fell to the Eagles, and because of the roster and the style of offense Kellen Moore runs, it just all fits.
Keep in mind.
Like Brock Purdy. If I'm the Titans, I take the best players, and I see what I can do at quarterback if I'm not going to risk the quarterback at the top.
But 58 Super Bowls, 9 of those have been won by Brady and Mahomes, who might be the two best to ever do it. So...
And then you throw in Montana,
you throw Montana,
other guys that have won multiple.
Yeah, so you get to that bottom 20 in a hurry when you start adding up the multiple guys that are Hall of Famers.
Yeah, Bradshaw has 4 of those, and Jalen Hurts. Debate who thinks who's a better quarterback, Bradshaw or Jalen Hurts.
I would say
such different eras.
Yeah. Well, that was funny because our buddy Spisto brought this up. He was like, "How many quarterbacks from the '80s do you think could play in today's game?" And I was like, "I know Elway could, Marino could." I feel good with the intangibles of Montana.
Yeah.
And then, Bradshaw came up, and I'm like, how good would Bradshaw be today?
I mean, he had 2 Hall of Fame receivers, which
and
there's a lot to be
Hall of
done.
Fame running back.
And Hall of Fame running back, and a lot of Hall of Fame around him.
The offensive line, I think every player except center Mike Webster is in the Hall of Fame on the offensive line.
I thought Webster would be.
How is
was
Webster
really-
not? I
Maybe he is.
I think he is. I think there's another one.
He's considered, along with Dwight Stevenson, probably your best center of all time.
But LC Green, I think I'm right about this. The entire offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers is in there,
and the defense was a lot of the same. Yeah,
I know you got 2 linebackers, and I think the whole
Mean Joe Green and all
Steel Curtain defensive line is in there.
I mean, this is touching the 80s, but you guys would give me, in today's football, Randall Cunningham would be much better than Terry Bradshaw.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But I was going to
make today's football also, Dan Marino would thrive even more now with the rules than he did even in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think Hurts is better than It's so hard to say. Bradshaw won 4 Super Bowls. I get it. But I was going to make the comparison. You've got some Hall of Fame offensive linemen in front of him, like Jason Kelsey played in front of him. He's going to be a Hall of Famer as a center, one of the best centers ever to play the game. Lane Johnson is a lock Hall of Famer at tackle. I don't know about Dickerson, playing guard.
No, the rugby kid, man, is unbelievable.
Saquon Barkley could be a Hall of Famer at running back if he continues to play this way.
Well, I think he is.
I think he is.
Yeah. I don't know about A.J. Brown. I don't know that he'll end up with Hall of Fame numbers. Devontae Smith's career is still very...
Yeah, not going to help that they're playing with the quarterback they're playing.
Dallas Goedert?
No.
Yeah, I mean, so there are a lot of Hall of Fame guys out there for Jalen Hurts, too. It's an interesting comparison.
The Jordan Mailata kid is the one I'm talking about, the left tackle.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating week down at the Senior Bowl as well for Jalen Milroe. We'll talk about that in Jackson Dart in just a second. Our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing, I want to remind you about something that's going on right now. Insurance companies have started to change the way they cover and handle claims when it comes to your roof, and Greg from Pell City wants to help you understand the new deal about that. If you've got a roof that's 7 years or older, Greg wants to help you out. The biggest change is how they're paying for storm damage on older roofs that are 7 years or older. If your roof is over 7 years, let Greg from Pell City come out, take a look at it, and go over with you what kind of coverage you have to have if you're going to have an older roof there and what needs to happen in your policy. He's got the answer for you. He'll help you out. So just to get an insurance checkup, call Greg, 205-542-3531. These rules and laws have changed when it comes to your roof coverage there, even with your existing insurance policy. So let Greg walk you through it right now, 205-542-3531. Or go to Facebook, Greg from Pell City. Free inspection. He'll give you a free roof inspection. He'll also handle any storm damage. All that A+ rated, but again, he's got the inside you need to know information about insurance and how they're going to cover your roof, especially if it's 7 years or older right now. 205-542-3531. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, and also by our friends at Hemp Hill.
205-229-2090. Whether you're experiencing any plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, our guys, Adam, Chad, Andrew, ready to serve you. Make sure you call 205-229-2090. Tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Nobody has got to improve their stock or will get hurt this week more than Jalen Milroe and Jackson Dart. Milroe's path to being an NFL quarterback starts this week. And our film guy, what's his name again?
Brooks Austin.
Brooks Austin.
Give Brooks some respect.
Yeah.
Certified ball knower.
DNT is how he rates Jalen Milroe in the NFL draft.
DNT?
Yeah.
Do not take?
Do not touch.
Do not touch.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I would be right now. You don't know about a second, third read from him. Way too inconsistent when he's even, at his best, he's incredible. At his worst, he's really bad. I think the American roster is fascinating because you've got 3 quarterbacks on each side. You've got Riley Leonard, who's from down around that area. I don't think he'll get drafted. If he does, I think it's more of a Taysom Hill situation for Riley Leonard. But then you have Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe. Milroe is going to crush the combines in all these numbers. I don't know how he's going to do in the interviews. He's a likable kid.
Yeah.
But Jackson Dart is kind of like right now, if I asked you guys who gets drafted first, Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe? And I think over this next month is going to be so important to coming up with that decision.
I'll go Milroe on the Indianapolis Colts example. that they fell in love with Anthony Richardson's numbers at the Combine, and they ignored a lot of Anthony Richardson's faults at Florida that were obvious faults. They were obvious faults.
Did Anthony go to the Senior Bowl? Do you remember?
I'll look, but I don't remember.
No, I don't think so.
Because here we are with Jalen Milroe down there, and these practices today, tomorrow, and Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
These are the 3 biggest days for Jalen Milroe because you've got the NFL scouts that are every NFL personnel person is in Mobile this week. He's practicing against really quality opponents, some live reps. I mean, they touch, they thud, they don't tackle to the ground, but they've got some of that going against some of the best players in the country. They'll have him on the dry erase board. They'll do interviews with him. I mean, his stock could be up or it could be way down coming out of Mobile.
Yeah.
And combines be damned at that point. Running the 40 and all that's going to be one thing. But what does he do in these 3 days at the Senior Bowl? I think it's huge for Milroe.
Yeah, I don't think I'd play the game if I were him. I don't know if he plans to or not, because I think his biggest, that and then at the Combine, when he runs the 40s and does the jumping and all that, he is going to be off the charts with his athletic ability.
Yeah.
And it's what made, right there in that city, Anthony Richardson the number 4 overall pick. There weren't a lot of teams in love with him, but Indianapolis fell in love, and there's still time. We'll see if that works. I think, was it Mel Kiper that had Jackson Dart going 3rd or 4th?
I think that was his 3rd quarterback.
Yeah.
But when you look at the national team, like Tyler Shuck, Dylan Gabriel, I think Shuck will end up getting drafted. I don't know if Gabriel will, just based on size and arm strength. And then the other kid is somebody I've never heard of from Laurier College, Taylor Elgersma.
Yeah. Well, he's going to tear the game up. He'll probably be the only quarterback that plays.
Yeah. But I think a lot of the focus for general managers down there are going to be on 2 quarterbacks. They're going to be on Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe. And I think Jalen Milroe has the most upside.
Yeah, there were reports, and I wish I could credit the reporter, but it was a couple of weeks ago, Jim, that the Steelers were in love with Milroe. So, again, all it takes is, that was what happened with Richardson and the Colts. We say this all the time. It only takes one team to really fall in love with a guy.
Only takes one.
Yeah.
ESPN put out their college football playoff projections yesterday for 2025. Bill Connolly does it. Do you think he had Alabama in it or out of it?
I think he's got Alabama in it.
He has Alabama in it, and I'm going to pull it up here. But talk about Alabama as a playoff team this year first.
Well, I think you're excited about what you saw. The defense, such a shaky start. And then Kane Womack seemed like he got it dialed in, and you've got a lot of the really good parts coming back to that defense. I think it's more about the unknown with the offense. You've got to play around with the offensive line. There's going to be new parts. Most importantly, Tyler Booker. That's a huge loss there. Quarterback is sight unseen. More than likely it's going to be Ty Simpson. It could be a true freshman.
What's interesting about Ty Simpson is he's got 2. One, I don't know how you would qualify a road start in Doak Campbell. It's the opening game of the season. I think it's going to be a fairly tough place to make your first start, don't you?
Yeah, I just don't know what you're going to get with Florida State.
I don't either, but I think if you gave Kalen DeBoer the choice, he'd flip it and he'd let him start at home against ULM rather than start at Doak Campbell week 1.
Would agree.
And then your 4th game, week 5, you're starting in Sanford Stadium, and that will likely be a primetime ABC game, night game. They're under the lights in Sanford Stadium. That's a tough – he's got a couple tough road starts to make early on, Ty Simpson does. And I do think, sight unseen, that has to be a little bit of a concern.
I feel like the offense will be much better just because I trust Kalen DeBoer. I think there was things to work out last year, but they couldn't really run the football effectively. You feel good about 1 and 2 receivers. But, how much more depth are you going to have at receiver this year? Are you going to be able to run the football more effectively? There's a lot of question marks with the offense.
Yeah, a lot of question marks for a lot of these teams. So Bill Connolly writes the story, but he uses Slaybaugh and several people of ESPN to come up with this bracket here from our friends at On3 that did the work here. They have Alabama as a 5 seed. So that'd be the highest currently non-conference champion.
Which means they play for the conference championship.
That means they lost the conference championship to Georgia in this scenario, and Alabama would play Boise State. So the matchup would be Boise State at Alabama, North Carolina an 11, so they have Belichick in.
Big year for him, by the way.
Oh, my gosh. Right away, Belichick's in the playoffs.
At Texas, LSU at Notre Dame, and Ohio State at Michigan in a first-round game. Which would be insanity.
Yeah, we don't want to see that.
And the teams with the bye as conference champions would be Georgia, would be Penn State, would be Utah out of the Big 12, and Louisville out of the ACC. No Clemson, which is the flaw in this to me. I think Cade Klubnik and a good receiver room. Clemson.
It's almost like they were trying to have fun with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Bill Conley is ignoring James Franklin's awful record. He's got him winning the Big Ten over Ohio State. And then, boy, this I've never seen Bill Belichick coach a college football game. I got him in the playoffs year one.
Well, I mean, you've got Louisville there.
Yeah.
You've got this 8-9 matchup that seems
impossible.
impossible.
Dunaway, if you get two ACC teams in and Clemson isn't one of them, what in the world happened?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't even have Clemson playing for the conference championship game.
Yep. Something went wrong with Cade Klubnik.
And Miami again.
Yeah.
Miami
Miami's
with Carson
out.
back.
Yeah, that's the wildest part of his projection is the ACC.
Yep. So there's a look ahead there. Shane Beamer got a pay raise over the weekend. If I asked you which college coach needs a Shane Beamer pay raise right now, Kurt Cignetti got one. So some have gotten them. Is there somebody else who?
Where's Rhett Lashley right now on his pay?
It's a private school.
Yep.
I think he got a pretty good extension, but I don't know that we'll ever know.
But
I'll see if I can find.
Since this year, I think what Lance is asking, since this year, he's already gotten a new contract.
I think so. I'm not 100% certain, but I'll look it up right now.
Didn't they do it before the playoffs?
Yes, here you go. I say that. He was supposedly making $2.5 million.
Kenny Dillingham's came right after the playoffs, right? Or during the playoffs.
It came before their playoff game, the week of that playoff game. So Dillingham got his. Let's just go SEC first while you look up Rhett Lashley. Is there anybody else in the SEC that...
I mean, Drinkwitz backed up 11 wins with 10 wins. I mean, say what you want. I know the schedule wasn't daunting, but if I'm a Missouri fan, I've won 21 games in 2 years in the SEC, and some of the other programs that have fallen off, I kind of like where we are.
Pretty relevant.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think back-to-back years is deserving. I mean, Beamer, this was his one really good year, right?
Seemed like he had one.
I mean, in 21, the way they closed was really good against Tennessee and Clemson. But
that's right.
I'm just talking about the entirety of the season.
Yeah, and boy, pressure on him with Lenore Sellers and all of that for this upcoming year.
I think in the SEC,
Clark Lee's an obvious. He probably got one already.
He probably got one. Sark got one.
Billy Napier did a hell of a job.
He did, but I am not extending his contract yet. I got to see more of that. I mean, he's lucky to keep a contract, much less extend one. Yeah, I think you've probably hit it with, and I would not have immediately said Drinkwitz, but I think you've hit it with him.
Yeah, and money that I guess you would take away would be.
There's a lot of those.
If you could,
Well, there's a lot of them. I'll start with Mark Stoops. I would take a lot of that money away.
Hugh Freeze.
Brian Kelly, Hugh Freeze, Kalen DeBoer.
Venables.
Brent Venables. There's a lot of them whose money I would take away. I wonder if Heupel, making the playoffs, I don't know if he got an extension when they had the 10-win season.
I would feel good about Heupel. I would feel good about Drinkwitz and Heupel. Good enough. If Beamer's going to get an extension, those guys get extension.
Well, Conor O'Gara, I did a podcast with him yesterday, Saturday Down South, and he said next year if Alabama just makes the playoff and loses in the first round, Alabama fans won't be happy with that. And I said, if they make the playoffs, that's the goal. They got to be in the playoffs next year. If they lose the first round, I don't think anybody's happy when you make the playoffs and lose.
No.
I use Tennessee as an example. Tennessee made the playoffs, but do you feel like Tennessee fans left this season happy?
No,
and they got embarrassed too.
Well, I think going into that game, I think Tennessee fans believed they were going to win that game. I knew a lot of Tennessee fans that actually went to Columbus, so getting embarrassed didn't help. I think it depends on how the season plays out. Like if you have another second half against Tennessee, if you have another Oklahoma performance and you sneak into the playoffs, I don't think Alabama fans are happy. But if you lose in Athens, you lose, let's just say, the Iron Bowl, you go 10-2, you play for the SEC championship, and you're one and done, it's probably not as bad.
Yeah.
But if you're 9-3 in the regular season and then you lose in the first round,
you just said losing the Iron Bowl. That changes that.
Changes that equation.
Well, I'm just trying to find 2 road losses.
So Lashley did get the extension in November, by the way.
And by the way, with this schedule, they need to be in the college football playoff.
I agree.
Who, Alabama?
Yeah.
Lashley got.
But you're at Georgia, at Auburn.
I know, but you should win all your home games. You should.
LSU's going to be really good. Great in the portal. Nussmeier back.
I think Tennessee's going to be really good.
Yeah. I don't trust their quarterback yet, but I know what you're saying.
What do you think's a more difficult game? Do you think Tennessee at home or on the road against South Carolina?
Wow. I mean,
That's
you're
a coin
talking about the
flip.
schedule. I mean, that's a tough. Both of those are tough.
I mean, if Lenore Sellers is what people think he will be, which is a Heisman contender.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree. I think Alabama, on paper right now, is only a dog one game, and that's in Athens. I think they're favored in all 11 other games.
Well, I mean,
on the road at Florida State to start with, they're favorites. Heavy favorites.
Not heavy, but I would think that it's anywhere between 4.5 and 7.5. But they will definitely be favored.
Yeah, home to Wisconsin. They've got to improve at some point? But
They ought to be 3-0, and then you go to Athens, just like last year when you were 3-0 and Athens came to you.
Yeah, and you're going to be a dog there. But then your next road game's Missouri. You're going to be favored in Columbia. You'll be favored at home against Tennessee. You'll be favored in Columbia, South Carolina.
I mean, that trip to Athens is whether or not you believe, and we got a little bit of an answer last year that Kirby Smart has a Nick Saban problem or an Alabama problem. Right now, it looks like he's got an Alabama problem.
He does.
Because he lost to Kalen DeBoer just like he did Nick Saban.
Yep. It's that little schedule there. I mean,
I'll tell you, man.
You go Alabama at Georgia, that Tennessee's a tough game at South Carolina. After that,
that's a tough back-to-back, hosting Tennessee and going to South Carolina.
I will be
LSU.
playing personally over 8.5 if I can get that number with that schedule.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 losable games and a trip to, not counting the trip to Auburn. So there's potential for 5 losses there.
If Kalen DeBoer goes 7-5, I don't think he makes it to year 3.
When we come back, we've got trash, and what is a very interesting potential for NIL. One super fan has stepped up, and I want to ask you guys before trash whether you think it's a trend. One more thing to talk about in this segment after you tell us about our great friends, Dr. B.
Our man, Dr. B. Look, T3, I talk about t3hair.net. Go to that website for more information. T3 has a new test that is so easy, painless, affordable, takes 4 seconds to perform. It's going to show you which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. There are over 10 categories of agents they use, knowing they will work for you. They will custom compound these agents for you in pill or topical forms. You pick and choose which agents that you want. So simple. Just call Dr. B and that great staff. Go in, get screened out. He's going to tell you the options that are going to work. 205-319-0316. Again, I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time. I went in and got me a new laser cap yesterday. Fantastic people up at Dr. B's office. My hair has more than doubled in thickness. Men and women are ordering Hims and other products online. They don't even know if they work. Stop wasting your money in critical time while you are losing hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come to Dr. B, find out what will work. 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
All right, first let's go to Jacksonville. Give me cringe scale 1 to 10. This is Liam Cohen, who's the new head coach of the Jaguars.
Jacksonville, the community. Duval. How do we do this together? This has to be collaborative. I want it to be as collaborative as possible for us to go to the next level, take the next step, and for us to have found a home for the first time in a long time that we can maybe plant some roots and truly be in a community and a family that we love and trust.
I'm a guy with Mike McDaniel as a head coach, and I don't feel like that guy looks like a head coach in the NFL.
No, I mean, it looks like, they had to find him a suit. Doesn't really fit. That tie, I know that's a terrible color scheme that Jacksonville has.
It is.
And just a complete goofball. I'm not going to say he's Cam Cameron, 1-15, but I think he is going to go down as one of the worst coaches over the last decade.
I will say winning the press conference is the most overrated thing in football.
Yeah, again, Sirianni, I don't know if we've got that clip.
Oh, he was awful.
But 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls, he's there, and I think Sirianni's was worse than that.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get Sirianni for tomorrow. Here's Aaron Glenn, introduced yesterday with the New York Jets. Played there.
Big reach, by the way, on Aaron Glenn. I didn't think his defenses. I know Aiden Hutchinson, when he went down, defense was different. But it was all about them scoring points and outscoring opponents.
But when Hutchinson went down, those DBs had to cover a lot longer than when Aiden Hutchinson was playing. When we're talking about,
when it wasn't just Hutchinson, a lot of people went down. But I thought Aaron Glenn was a reach.
Here is Aaron Glenn, introduced yesterday with the New York Jets. Different attitude, but he also got after it.
To any players that's here now, put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride.
Thank you, Avery.
Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Listen, there are going to be some challenges, but with challenges gets opportunity. But here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Yeah, history shows that.
Listen, I
won a championship since the 60s.
I interviewed for a number of them, but I wanted this job. When I was going to my second interview, I wanted to make sure this is going to be the second interview. It's going to be the first of the second interviews, because I didn't want to leave the building without shaking Woody's hand and make sure we had a contract. So I'm just telling you now, everything else was really out of it. It was all about the Jets, and it's been that way from the beginning.
You know, you don't see this a lot in the NFL. This is far.
So you got a lot of him in him?
This is far more common in the far more common in college football than the NFL. I just wonder if he never played for the Jets, does he have this job?
Nope.
You
I
don't see that a lot in the NFL.
Our friend Chip Brown last week.
Yeah.
I was like, Aaron Glenn does not get this job if he did not play for the Jets.
I mean, that is so rare in the NFL that they make hires like that, but it's far more common in college, and it's a huge mistake in college.
How old is Jerry Jones? 83?
Oh,
not 88. Right?
Boy,
this low 80s.
This screenshot,
count the liver spots.
This screenshot looks a lot older than 83.
I'll tell you, man, his kid Steven looks almost as old now.
Here is Jerry Jones yesterday at the introduction of Brian Schottenheimer as their head coach, and he is emotional about getting out of his comfort zone.
Now, I get my proverbial ass kicked over needing people in my comfort zone. Without this thing being about me in any way, if you don't think I can't operate out of my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable. This is as big a risk as you could take.
Oh, yeah.
As big a risk as you could take. No head coaching experience.
We're going to win, and we're going to win a championship. Otherwise, why are we doing it?
I mean, Brian Schottenheimer's got to feel great with the owners. Like, this is as big a risk as I can take.
I said it a couple of weeks ago. Like, I believe at 82, this is his last hire. Now, there are people like Matt Mosley that were on the show. You don't know Jerry. This guy's going to live to be 120. I think this is his last hire, and that's why he's saying this is such a big risk, because he has no confidence. I don't know what he was doing hiring Schottenheimer. This is going to be a disaster. Again, you don't have an elite quarterback. You've got a good, solid quarterback that can't stay healthy. They'll win games. Dallas always wins games, but they're not going to win the postseason.
I mean, I ask about Aaron Glenn playing for the Jets. If this guy's last name is Turner instead of Schottenheimer, well, that could be Norv Turner. If this guy's name is Simpson instead of Schottenheimer, is he an NFL head coach?
I could be an NFL head coach, but I mean,
don't you think the Schottenheimer name
has helped him?
Yeah. I mean, he grew up around it. But
I mean, Marty was a good coach. Marty Schottenheimer's a good football coach.
You hired from inside the building, from an organization. Why do you fire the head coach if you're just going to hire from inside the building?
Never understood.
And I think Cowboy fans got really excited, because if you were going to go and hire another coach, the people they talked to outside of the building, from Dion, Sark's name was mentioned. I think there were some Cowboy fans that were like, damn, we might get, one of these hidden gem guys that would at least excite us. For Schottenheimer just to move up the ladder, I don't think it excites anyone.
Because what changes really with the offense?
Exactly.
That's the NFL yesterday. When we come back, that NIL, maybe the tip of the iceberg for the future. Maybe it's a one-off and trash. It's next right here on TNR.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it, and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right, and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the BJCC. With customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall. Sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only, meet all elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the next round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness. World of Wills is a annual event, a rite of passage here. I love it. It's this weekend. Fired up for it.
It starts Friday.
Man, if you got kids,
oh yeah,
take it, and then they'll take their kids, and they'll take their kids.
And on and on and on. Friday through Sunday at the BJCC. See custom classic cars, hot rods, trucks, motorcycles. New this year. Check out the exotic car exhibit. Plus, do not miss the BMX bike stunt team performing outrageous stunts live each day. And kids, meet your favorite costume characters and race Hot Wheels on the free Hot Wheels drag track. Don't miss the Super Show with one-of-a-kind vehicles from across the country. Get your discount tickets today at any O'Reilly Auto Parts stores and get details at worldofwheels.net.
Who is the old fellow, the Notre Dame comedian that got under Nick Saban's skin?
Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis.
Yep.
Shane Gillis announces. He says, I was watching the confetti fall on Ohio State, and I texted my agent, let's get a show together, and all proceeds from that show, I want to go straight to Notre Dame NIL.
Interesting.
Bon Jovi jumps on and says, I'm in. Let's make it a bigger venue, and I'm in with the band Bon Jovi, and we'll give all the NIL money to Notre Dame.
So I didn't know Bon Jovi. I didn't know they were big fans of Notre Dame.
I didn't either. So I'm asking you this question. Could this become a thing? Like, obviously, Morgan Wallen, Kenny Chesney, Kelsey Ballerini, 3 big country stars, are all huge Tennessee fans.
Well, yeah, why not?
I mean, you just sell out Neyland and give it all to the NIL.
I mean, the way I would justify it.
Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean, and all these Georgia people.
I would almost do, a week of my time would be worth my team being really good. It depends on how passionate they are, but even if you did an NIL 7-day tour and you jump from Nashville to Memphis, to Atlanta.
Yeah. I mean, could this be a thing?
Could the and I don't know, I'm asking a question that none of us going to know the answer
and
to.
Does Alabama and Auburn start sucking here because who's going to be their NIL concert?
Yeah, who's their big musical?
Bo Bice.
Yeah, I mean,
which one did he go to, Auburn or Alabama?
I don't know.
Auburn used to have Jimmy Buffett, late great Jimmy Buffett. I think it went to Auburn one semester or something like that. Can the collective not do that? So could the collective not pay whatever Shane Gillis or John Bon Jovi's appearance fee is? You've got use of the stadium. Surely the school would cut you a deal if you had to pay any at all in the school stadium.
So you're talking about, we'll use Alabama as an example. Alabama decides we're going to get use. The school is going to give us use of Bryant-Denny Stadium for free.
Yep.
And we're going to have
a big music festival.
We're going to hire, basically we'll get the Rock of the South, that lineup, and it goes all day in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and all that money goes to NIL.
So 2 summers ago, my wife, my oldest daughter, and I went to the Horseshoe in Columbus, and we saw Little Big Town, Chris Stapleton, and King George. And it was labeled a music festival. Now, George Strait was obviously the headliner there, and he did his normal concert. A lot of times at music festivals, you get the shorter concert, but he did his normal length concert. And they did a big stadium tour there, but this was at the Horseshoe. So what if the collective had put that on? They pay George Strait, they pay Chris Stapleton, they pay Little Big Town, but they keep all the profits.
And everything
Well, how about this?
I
hate to say this out loud, but it's not like we're ever going to be included. But we've always talked about how do you create more interest in spring games. So let's say an 8A game, you had this massive concert afterwards. So all of whatever your ticket cost is, $100, you get to go see the game, and then you've got this big concert afterwards.
Yeah.
Why would you not start doing stuff like that?
I don't know if y'all remember this, but there was this company was going to do this big concert tour in all the SEC stadiums. Do you remember that?
No, they did.
They announced it, but it never got pulled off for some reason.
They did one at LSU.
At Tiger Stadium. Well, I know Garth Brooks did Tiger Stadium.
But that concert did one at LSU, but it never made it to the Bryant-Denny.
It was going to do Bryant-Denny. It was going to do Athens.
Yeah. Because these stadiums
and Neyland, I think.
Basically empty.
Yeah.
For a lot of dates.
Yeah, but if Greg Byrne or John Cohen hired a production company and they went out and got the talent, I mean, these stadium tours make money.
Yeah. Like, honest to goodness, and, we love the folks at the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. They do a great job. They built it, revitalized that part of the city there. But if I was Greg Byrne, I think I would be trying to put the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater out of business. I think I would have Live Nation booking Bryant-Denny Stadium, and or I'd be renting out the amphitheater and having NIL concerts.
If we want to get legalized sports betting and different things like that quickly passed in Alabama, the 50-50 lotteries that you see at games, why not start doing those at every home game, and 50% goes to whoever wins, and the other 50% goes to the collective?
Yeah. To whoever wins the game being played on the field. Whoever wins the lottery. Yeah.
But I mean, why would you not take advantage of 8 home games where you could do a 50-50 and all of that money actually goes right back to the collective?
I think by Alabama law, it'll need to be 50.1% to the winner and 49.9% to the collective.
I'm telling you, man, if you just gave us a week off to hang out and come up with all these ideas, I think we could come up with some really good NIL ideas.
We don't need a week off. We can sit here and do it between commercials. It is trash time. It's brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Tyler, you got something for? Is it a new one today, Tyler?
I'm betting on it.
That didn't upset me. But the bitch-ass hoe that told me to calm down, what I'd like you to do is apologize instead of being a bitch.
You're calling me sorry, but you're calling me a bitch. So set an example.
I'm sorry. My kids can't hear me calling you a bitch.
Your window's open.
They can't hear me because they're listening to Kids Spot.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer, a seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process so easy. Speaking of veterans, veteran founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call that Birmingham office, 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Came across, you guys remember Gene Siskel?
Oh, Siskel and Ebert?
Yep.
Yeah.
The late, I think Gene Siskel's dead, right? Yes. You sure?
The bald-headed, the guy with the glasses is still with us.
Yeah,
right?
Roger Ebert. I'm pretty sure Siskel's been dead for years.
They're both passed.
They have both passed.
Yeah.
Two thumbs down.
Okay.
What about Melton, the guy that used to do it on the
Don't
Today
act
Show?
like that. By the way, guys, behind the glass, we're all going to die at some
Yeah, that's
point.
right. At some point, every one of us.
And they gave 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down. They're both dead.
What about the old boy?
I'm giving 2 thumbs down to your pun. Gene Shalit, you're talking about?
Yeah. I used to see him when I was a kid. He had the big.
He's easily dead.
I don't think so.
Massive heart attack.
Yeah, I did think Ebert was still alive. I knew Siskel died a long time ago. Anyway, Gene Siskel did his top 10 worst movies of all time.
Gene Shalit's still alive, 98 years old.
Wow, 98.
98, yeah.
He's
almost on a jelly jar on the show he used to be on.
You guys tell me if you've seen any of these movies and how bad they are. I've seen part of one of the 10, but that was it. Number 1 on this list, Patch Adams.
Yeah, I've seen Patch Adams.
I
It's not
like
a terrible
Patch
movie.
Adams.
Yeah, it's Robin Williams.
I've heard it's really, really bad.
Depressing.
He's in medical school. Yeah, I don't think that's a terrible movie.
I wouldn't call it terrible at all.
No.
Ends up with Alzheimer's?
No.
Okay. I haven't seen it.
Jungle to Jungle.
Never heard of it.
I don't know what that is.
Not bad.
1997. You've seen it?
Yes, Tim Allen.
Wow.
Not bad at all.
You
Mimi
haven't seen-
Siku is the kid.
You
Yes.
haven't sold me yet.
Martin Short's in it as well.
Okay. North. I know that was with the little kid Elijah Wood. By the way, his birthday today. I never saw North, though.
Another depressing movie. Didn't like that one.
Is this
Lost
where
Kid.
Reese Witherspoon hikes north?
No.
Nope.
You're 0 for 10.
It does have Elijah Wood, Alan Arkin, Dan Aykroyd. By the way, under your recommendation, I watched Saturday night.
And?
I thought it was good.
Same.
Here's the thing. I didn't know, was it really that frenetic? Was there that much stuff going on, or did they really, really force it?
I think they forced it cinematically.
Yep.
But I also think that a lot of the performances in that ensemble on Saturday night are really funny. and really fun.
I thought the Dan Aykroyd, the mannerisms, the Chevy Chase mannerisms.
They nailed Chevy Chase.
Yeah, I thought Billy Crystal. They nailed Billy Crystal.
Yep.
So I think some of those little side performances, I thought it was a fun watch, but I think it was probably over the top.
I agree with you.
Next on this list, House Arrest from 1996.
Nope. Never seen it.
Oh, man. House Arrest. I don't...
Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm trying to look. Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I don't know.
Yeah. Kevin Pollak. Like Father, Like Son from 1987.
Nope.
Never seen it.
Basically like a Freaky Friday, they said. The $1 Million Duck from 1971.
You know, I've missed that one.
Oh, yeah.
Maniac from 1980. It follows an Italian-American serial killer in New York City who murders and scalps young women.
Oh,
yeah.
Got chills.
Is that a comedy?
Black Sheep is on this list.
Oh, with Chris Farley?
I like that one a
Yeah.
lot.
Yep, David Spade and Farley.
It's
Wait,
basically Tommy Boy 2.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I like that one. Is that where Rob Lowe is the mom? I mean, the love interest
that was
of the lady?
Tommy Boy.
That was Tommy Boy.
That was Tommy Boy, yeah.
This is the one I've seen parts of. Staying Alive from 1983. John Travolta. It was kind of the follow-up for Saturday Night Fever.
I
it
saw
was
Staying
awful.
Alive, yeah.
And Frozen Assets from 1992.
No, never
Was
seen
Staying
it.
Alive were they jazzercising in there?
Yeah, something like that.
Horrible.
Let's see believe it or not, Gene Siskel's all-time favorite movie in the 1977. Didn't know that, Saturday Night Fever, but they said that Staying Alive set 6 years after Tony attempts to become a Broadway dancer.
Yeah, I think Jamie Lee Curtis in that one, right?
Was she in that?
I think she was.
Boy,
I think
she's multiple appearances on this list.
I think she was the love interest.
Yeah.
I think she was the lead. If I remember the movie right, they're in headbands and tights. She's the lead dancer.
Cynthia Rhodes, Frank Stallone.
No Jamie Lee Curtis.
No Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah.
That was in the movie
you're thinking
Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect from 1985.
Is when Jamie
Lee
Curtis
Curtis and John Travolta
Yeah.
were in that together. After a recent women's basketball game between South Carolina and LSU, didn't you say that was Friday afternoon?
It was 4 o'clock.
South Carolina's DJ played an instrumental song from the deceased father of LSU's Flagey Johnson, later apologized that it occurred. Now, the university has suspended the DJ after the incident. Have you guys heard anything about this?
I have.
Yeah, they to try to intimidate the opponent or get her in the wrong headspace. They played The DJ played one of her dad's songs who had passed away.
Yeah, his moniker was Camouflage as a rapper, real name Jason Johnson. According to USA Today, a song came out, Cut Friends, back in 2001. It was recorded by Johnson's father. She never got to meet her father because he was shot and killed 6 months before she was born.
Yep.
Now, if I remember the story right, as I was talking to Scott and Tyler about this yesterday, the DJ was like, "Hey, man, bad mistake on my part. Didn't really get the connection." Like, wasn't he trying to play it off?
Yeah,
like,
I don't think like if it was like California Love.
Yeah, right.
She was trying to play it off, but they played it right after the game, right after LSU lost.
Yeah.
So it does seem like adding insult to injury.
This is a pretty deep dig.
And she's probably the only one that gets the inside joke.
Nobody even knows what he's doing.
And by the way, such a massive punishment for this DJ. He is suspended for 1 game.
She's suspended.
She is suspended for
1 game.
1 game.
That's right.
And
this is the DJ.
She's got to...
Looks a little like Dawn Staley.
She's got to get her music list approved.
Oh, wow.
That's the penalty.
Oh, I hope it's so.
Well, I mean, makes it sound like it was an inside job.
I will tell you,
we're going to suspend you for 1 game.
But if you don't have autonomy as a DJ, that's a problem.
Yeah,
isn't
it is a problem. I mean, you're hiring me to be a DJ. I used to play anything I wanted.
Yeah, but chances are good now. You're going to go, okay, here's my playlist of what I'm going to play in the game today, and nobody's going to look at it.
Or can you just not implement the rule? Hey, look, any of the opponents we're playing, if any of their dads have been shot in a drive-by, just don't play their music.
Leave that artist
you just
out.
ask right off the bat. Okay, what's the scout on Alabama's coming to town? Any deaths?
Nope.
Oh, I can't play suds in a bucket. Got it.
Wow, that's a deep dig right there.
A man accused of stealing a toilet after burglarizing a home in Memphis on Wednesday, now in jail. Rodriguez Wilborn, 40 years old, charged with aggravated burglary, held in jail on a $5,000 bond. On January 22nd, police responded to a burglary call. Officers say a man later identified as Wilborn had broken into the home, stole a new toilet, still in the box. When Wilborn noticed he was caught, he allegedly dragged the toilet back towards the house and jumped a fence while fleeing.
That's about as blurry a mugshot as you're going to get. Like, if this guy ever gets loose, I don't know we're going to catch him again.
Yeah, I had so much trouble just finding something this good.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I don't think this guy's real. I think he's a ghost.
Wait, he's only 5'4".
Yeah.
That's true.
Maybe creeping up to 5'5".
Creeping at 5'5", yeah.
Yeah, maybe 5'5".
So China's first ever corgi police dog, Fuza, has become an internet sensation for both his achievements and his recent run of trouble at work.
Who's a good little fella?
Now, the small but determined K-9 officer lost his year-end bonus for sleeping on the job and urinating in his food bowl, sparking widespread amusement and sympathy on the Chinese social media. According to domestic media, Corgi joined the Weifeng Public Security Bureau as a reserve explosives detection dog in January of 24 when he was just 4 months old. Despite his size, the now 18-month-old Fuza quickly stood out for his exceptional talent in detecting explosives, winning over his trainers and the public alike. By October, Fuza, meaning lucky boy, graduated to become a fully qualified police dog. Now, the story of Fuza's journey has been shared widely on Douyin, which is the Chinese equivalent of TikTok, through a dedicated account run by the Public Security Bureau. In a video posted on January 19th, officers praised Fuza for his exceptional contributions throughout 2024, but he was popped for his year-end behavior where he decided to fall asleep on duty and then he pissed in his food bowl.
Why does Chinese need a version of TikTok? I thought China had TikTok.
They do,
I'm very
but
confused.
It's different.
Yeah.
They've already got that information on their users.
Right. This is new information.
TikTok has to steal our information. Douyin, you have to give that information to them in paper form because you're a communist.
That's true. We don't
they
have
come
computers.
and take the information.
This one doesn't seem fair, Tyler. In Beijing, 12,000 runners are gearing up for a half marathon, as many have before. The only difference this time is that their main competitors will be machines rather than humans.
Yeah. One pothole, though.
In China, you will comply, by the way, or it ain't going to end good for you.
Now, the race set for April will see humanoid robots from more than 20 companies competing in the full race for the first time. Now, there's a technological development area. E-Town is organizing the event. Participating robots must have human-like appearance and be capable of using 2 legs or walking. For running, no wheels are allowed. I got to say this. I could run a marathon today if I didn't tire out.
Well, yeah, we all could.
Yeah. So
the robot's not going to get tired, right?
So So what is the purpose of this?
I think the robots have to swap batteries. So
Tyler's got a good point.
Now, it says mid-run battery replacements are also permitted due to anticipated battery life limitations. Podium finishers, human or not, will be awarded prize money. I'm going to take, unless you got a couple of Kenyans running in this, I'm taking the robot.
Well, I'm just saying now you've got to take a turn occasionally. There may be uneven roads. You may get entangled with another robot. There are things that could go wrong. It's not a slam dunk.
Increasing prevalence of robots in China is a result of an aging population and the surge in demands for machines to provide assistance and care for the elderly. The nation's robotics industry reportedly projected to reach almost $55 billion by 2030 in the next 5 years. That is crazy.
Well, just like yesterday, the news that sent our tech stock plummeting was the fact that they've developed AI with cheaper software and such that is supposed to turn everything upside down.
It'll bounce back.
I was going to finish. The warning was, if you can believe what the communist government is telling you, that they were able to develop it on their own with cheaper products, and they didn't steal it from us.
Yeah, but you're going to
absolutely stole it from NVIDIA. So I think that it will be a very censored form of AI, and so it's just not going to be able to take off the same way that NVIDIA's will after the newness wears off.
Yeah. Don't you guys think that most print mediums and even television commercials, because you got a bunch of TV, like just commercial actors, are going to be AI?
I think Coca-Cola did a AI commercial they got a lot of criticism for, which I don't understand. Well, it was a bunch of polar bears and stuff. Were they supposed to go train polar bears?
You could just pay an artist to do actual work.
Yeah, but polar bears are part of the brand of Coca-Cola for years and years.
Yeah. What about voiceover actors? Can you do AI?
Oh yeah, we've got that capability here. We don't use it, but we've got that capability.
Yeah, that's going to put a lot of people out of jobs.
Good.
Yeah. Very few people know this. Emily Grace, not even real.
Yeah, she's AI.
She's AI.
Yep.
She's a fembot.
Yep.
That was your rumor. I'm just confirming.
Yeah, I don't do rumors. I don't do rumors. That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Hey, before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information at mortgageright.com, 205-900-7200.
The dumbest sports graphic of all time, and that's saying a lot. Inside the broadcast, if you watch the Cleveland Cavaliers home broadcast, this is on the screen constantly during the game.
Okay.
It's called the diff. If you'll notice there, the diff is currently +2. You know what the diff is? It's how much Cleveland in this situation is ahead. The differential is +2. We are so dumb, or at least the Cleveland Cavaliers broadcast thinks so. We are so dumb that we can't figure out that Cleveland is +2 right now ahead of their opponents, that they constantly on the screen put the diff.
So this is not a one-off. They legitimately do this.
It is on their broadcast the entire game. Either the Cavaliers are ahead, plus by how many points, or they are minus. It's the diff, the differential.
Yeah, I thought that's what a scoreboard's for.
30-28. They don't want you to have to do the math.
Oh, we're ahead by 2.
They don't want you to have to do the math.
Wow.
That is weird.
Yeah.
The diff. And they even try to be cool and call it the diff.
The diff. As Josh writes on Twitter, is this really necessary?
No, Josh, it is not.
It is not necessary. How dumb are we now? The diff +2. I thought maybe it was gambling.
Well, I thought maybe based on the point spread, are we point spread wise 2 up right now? If this were a pick 'em, you wouldn't really need it, but let's say Cleveland's -1, the diff in this situation would be +1.
But anybody that gambles, all you got to do is put what the number was, which is what
I know.
you see.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I guess there's dummies everywhere.
Yeah, if you wanted to put an in-game live number, that is.
The diff.
The diff. I don't know what we're doing anymore sometimes. All right, we're back with you tomorrow. Nate Oats on the show tomorrow at 9:45 Central Time. So we'll have Coach Oats here on game day to talk about Alabama at Mississippi State. Probably catching him right before shoot-around. in Starkville.
I don't have his schedule in front of me. Maybe right after breakfast.
Right after breakfast,
Maybe.
right before the shoot-around. Sounds like a good
Bet
plan.
he'll have a bottle of water on him.
Probably will. Probably will. All right. So that's the show today. We'll do more basketball tomorrow. Until next time. New Bama and Bourbon this week?
Not
yet?
No.
Not yet.
Not,
No
th-
Bama
not
and
this
Bourbon
week.
this week.
There's a reason, but no, we will not have Bama and Bourbon back until next week.
Until next week. All right. New Bama and Bourbon out next week with Aaron Suttles. NLT. You can get all of our stuff right at our platforms, video and audio-wise. Until next time, God bless you, and God bless America.